You're on camera, say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
I'm in heaven. I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, when I boast out in front of 5,000 people. I get the same feeling. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? Getting the feeling of coming. So, you know, I'm in heaven. The feeling of coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym, coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym, so you know I'm in heaven. I'm getting the feeling of coming. I'm coming in the gym when I pump up. I'm in heaven. When I pump up. I'm in heaven. When I pump up, I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. It's terrific, right? When I pump, right? I'm in heaven. Right? Getting the feeling of coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym day and night. Coming in the gym when I pump up. Coming in the gym. Coming in the gym when I pump up. I mean, it's terrific.
Oh yeah. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Sit around thinking the same shit. I can't breathe. I gotta stop looking at it.
Man, who let these kids in here? Smells like peanut butter and Play-Doh. What's that, French boy? You've lost your pride. Hand in the reins to those unqualified. Shadows game, yeah, it's looking so weak. Try to rewrite the past, but you messed up the street. Raise a toast to what's burned away. The shadows fell, they couldn't stay. From Yasuke's tale to this messy shame. French boy, you're only yourself to blame. Lazy Canadian kids, what's your game? Burning the brand, dragging the name. French Boy Studio, you're out of touch. How'd you screw it up this much? Lazy Canadian kids, don't pretend. Breaking what you can't defend. French Boy Studio, the fans all know your empire's gone, it's a sideshow.
What is happening here? What is happening here? What is happening? What's happening here? What's happening? What's happening here?
black shirts coming, stop running, running. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. We rising, no holding us back. We worldwide moving as a pack on the streets to the heights. We only attack. They try to hold us down. Put your money on black, money on black, money on black, money on black, money on black.
Good evening, Black Shirt Army. Don't you just hate it when the straights just ruin your perfect ships you've had going for nigh on to a decade now about teenagers? Anyway, to help me, understand, I'm not even going to bother trying to explain this. To help me understand is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Hi, Black Shirt Army. The coping and seething is just delicious. If you are in the Boku no Hero Academia fandom, especially for as long as I have been, it is just amazing. So, for those of you that have not read chapter 431, which I did cover on my channel, basically, Horikoshi confirmed that Deku and Ochako, aka let me make sure I have the right.
Uravity?
No, it's they call it on the Reddit.
Oh yeah, it's Ikuchaku, right?
It's Izuocha.
Oh, sorry.
It's Izuocha. They confirmed Izuocha. And how it went down in the chapter was specifically is that after this is 8 years after the events of Boku no Hero Academia, and yeah, you're getting spoiled. You have to deal with it. Basically, Ochako is trying to atone for what happened with Toga, and because of that, she has been putting like everything into her career as a court counselor. And Deku, on the other hand, has become, he's not a fast food worker like people think he is. He is a teacher at UA, which is really kind of pissed some people off, which I don't understand why. But they haven't like really seen each other until they started doing part-time hero work. And after Class 1A had like a little bit of a reunion because of Todoroki getting a promotion to rank 2 in the hero rankings. That got interrupted by a criminal. After, apprehending them, they parted ways. Ochako and Deku met up. And Ochako was thinking to herself, like, how she kind of regretted all the lost time that of not getting to talk to Deku more, especially since she kind of declared her love for Deku during the fight with Toga. And Deku, like a little bit earlier in the chapter, Bakugo told Deku that you can't just say that everyone is special. And that that you got to be basically you got to be kind of a little selfish. And after all that, Deku basically tells Ochako that he wants to talk to her more and spend time with more time with her. And Ochako has like this hallucination of Toga kind of, giving her the shove and just saying, I want you to live your life the way you want to. And Ochako's like, okay. And yeah, the Bakudeku shippers are furious. It's interesting that you don't have like the people that ship like Todoroki and Deku or Bakugo and Deku. They're not like furious at all. They're pretty chill. They don't care. But it's not just the Bakugo and Deku shippers that are furious. It is the Toga and Ochako shippers that are furious too. And it is the most bizarre thing I have ever seen.
Well, it's because they, so this one's a really interesting one, okay? Because it combined vampires, lesbians, superheroes, and modern audience. And this is why I gave up on My Hero Academia. Horikoshi tries to play really hard into Disney's Marvel archetype. He really wants an MCU deal. But what I can say to this is the reason why they did this is that the vampire thing is always a 100%. Like I don't know what it is, but lady folk, well, you know, you're a lady.
They love the
Did-
lesbian vampires.
Well,
I
it's
guess.
not. It's the vampire thing, but it's also the lesbian side of it too, because again, like that's very vogue right now. So that's why it's all culminating on these two rather than Bakugo and Deku, who have been really the more popular ship until the end when we got Toga and
No, they've been. It's been popular. Period. Even with the Toga and
Okay.
Ochako thing, like that's been the number one gay ship. Period. And they are the ones that are making the most noise out of everybody. They are so pissed that they thought that they were after everything
so
that happened that they were going to be together, and it's like it's part of this problem where guys can't just be bros or friends. They are
right.
they have to be gay if they are close. And like all the sacrifices that Deku did for Bakugo and vice versa during the war, they thought that meant they were gay and that confirmed their ship. And it's like, no, they have a bromance.
Right. We do have a question though from Spencer here. He's asking, wait, seriously, did they bring this chapter back? They do this one chapter here because of the backlash?
No, I don't think it was because of the backlash. What Horikoshi said in the author notes is that this was like a like an off-camera thing, where the heroes got to like let go and just be themselves. That's what it said in the author notes.
Okay. So a lot of people are just sort of like interpreting that maybe Horikoshi did do this for the sake of clarification, maybe not to like dunk on anybody or whatever, but perhaps just to close a story end that maybe he felt was more prescient than revealing who Deku's father is.
Yeah, there was a lot of things there's a lot of problems with Boku no Hero Academia's ending that I had. I did not like that the Stain erasure, for example, because Stain was a huge character. Like we saw his origins in Vigilantes, and we saw his role in All Might's story during the war, and we saw how he inspired like characters like Spinner to join the League of Villains. And after he made a sacrifice and after the war, nothing. And that really pissed me off. That was like my main thing. But also I would have liked to seen in regards to Toya, aka Dabi. Like that story was almost perfect in terms of the closure. I just would have liked to seen like that final moment of when he died. I just would have liked to seen the family together for when he passed, because that would have just been a powerful moment. Because we saw them in the jail and we saw that little bit of closure, but I would have liked to seen that final moment. We only got like a little bit of like what Todoroki was saying about him being at his altar, so we know that he did die. But
right. Well, I mean, you're not the only one that was disappointed, apparently. This wall of text has appeared out there in the wild.
Yeah.
So, it's this is about what happened here, okay? This isn't unrelated. This is a person having a temper tantrum over on X, or I think it's X. And so it says, quote, "You're just mad." And this person says, "Yeah, I am mad that throughout all this entire show is Zuocha. Shippers constantly belittle everything between BKD against Bakugo and Deku. But right when it happens with these two, it's canon. This isn't the first time this has happened. Izuku calling Katsuki his hero in the 3rd season, but I can't read it with the voice. I'm sorry. The Japanese names just fucked me up. So
you mean Izuku calling Katsuki his hero in the 3rd season? Yeah.
But when he says Ochako is his hero toward the end, they're canon. Then, when the last chapter came out, people went batshit crazy saying, God damn that.
Izuocha.
Yeah, there you go. Was canon because Ochako's mask was similar to Deku's. But what? Where the hell? Wow. Imagine being Horikoshi and like being like, oh shit, I didn't even realize I did that. But similar to Deku's. But when people pointed out how Bakugo's gloves look similar to come on. They're gloves.
They are reaching. They are freaking reaching.
All of a sudden we're reaching. Yes, it is. I hope you stretched. My gosh. I want a gif of Goku stretching and it says Bakugo Deku fan, ex-Deku fan stretching before they reach. If the manga truly ends with Izuocha, I'm going to say it wrong forever, getting together, well, it did, getting together after not talking for that much time. Horikoshi's a horrible writer, and I'm just not saying that as a shipper, because I would rather have no ships confirmed. But as a simple viewer who enjoyed the story for the plot, not the romance.
Dude, they're so triggered.
Yeah, right. That last little statement compared to that. Yeah, I really, yeah, you're definitely in it for the plot. Oh yeah, definitely. There again, these people are quite colorful with what they have to say about how this manga is apparently still ending.
This was when it got really, really wild. Oh my god.
Why on earth did you make Izuochi canon? Wouldn't it be better for people who read My Hero Academia to have an ending that everyone likes?
Tell that to oh my god, who was I thinking? Tell that to Gege. Like, I hate Jujutsu Kaisen's ending so much.
If you weren't really smart, you would make an. If you weren't really smart. Anyway, if you weren't really smart, you wouldn't make an ending that made everyone happy. What English? Anyway, it isn't. Okay, I see it. Nah, damn it. If you don't want to die, then make a new. Oh,
the death threat.
Because the Horikoshi didn't end the story with two teenage boys sodomizing each other. How about that? Wow. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. Can I be real and honest and true? I never really with Ochaku like that, and now she likes men. What? Anime isn't real life, guys. We might have giant robots on Mars someday, but it's not real life. Anime's not real life. Hell no, I hate a straight person. Wow. That's an incredibly mature response.
Oh my god, these people are so delusional. It's so funny.
It's funny. I hate straight people even though they're a product of straight people. How about that? Isn't that interesting? If you were smart, there's an RJ McBready SMRD. That spells smart. Yeah, it's enough words to fill a left-wing meme. You're absolutely right. It is. It's very awkward how these people go about things. It's like when we were coming up with anime fans, they understood they were weird. And so we all just kind of stayed away. Like, yeah, I watch Dragon Ball Z. I'm not going to engage with that with these people who clearly don't do that, are not jiving with that. These people, they're like, is this mic on? Yeah, Taylor Swift, I'll let you finish, but Bakugo and Deku should have been 69ing in that last chapter. You know, and that's how these people are. Like, there's no shame about it. Like, I don't understand.
Tumblr,
I don't get it.
Cancer, man. Tumblr really screwed up this fandom.
Yeah, it's a plague, and it continues to spread.
You know what I think is hilarious is the My Hero Academia Reddit is like just destroying these shippers, and I'm surprised that it's Reddit of all places that's doing it.
Well, if it's one thing that I have learned about Reddit is that a cute anime girl will always balance the scales. Like, they will always go for a cute anime girl. And I figure there's probably more Ochaku stans than Deku stans that are taking care of this. You know what I mean?
They're sick of the yaoi shipper or the Fujoshis and the Yuri tards. They're sick of them. They've had to deal with it for a long time, so it's like, yeah, it's understandable why My Hero Academia Reddit is sick of them.
This person's temper tantrum goes like this, and it says, "I'm being pissed that Ochaku who keeps calling a woman
it's
the prettiest."
It's not on the screen, by the way.
What? Oh, sorry. I'm being pissed at Ochaku who keeps calling a woman the prettiest, most cutest in the world. She picked a man, a f***ing man. All right.
Yes,
cool.
you want.
So did your dad. I mean, your mom, maybe your dad did too. You probably, yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing I just didn't understand. Like, after all the stuff that Ochako did, and also the stuff that Toga did, you really wanted them to get together? That I just blew
Well,
my mind.
It's
I
the
thought,
same logic behind Joker and Harley. They're not receiving that that both people are mentally deranged and that one of them is murderous about it. Okay? So they don't understand that. So they're like, "Oh, I have this hot idea in my head of the vampire villain girl biting the hero girl and it excites me. And so now I'm just going to make that my personality." And that's what these people did. They were so that's what it's about. It's that these people have had their entire like core of their being destroyed because they expected teenage lesbians. I don't.
like, how is she supposed to get with someone that's dead and just haunting her mind, or just like haunting her?
Well,
Like, it's just
yeah.
so weird.
They also like the ghost girlfriend angle too because there's been a lot of shows that did the lesbian ghost girlfriend thing. There was a couple of them in the 90s anyway that I remember, or maybe early 2000s. They blend together. Kenneth Renz Domingo, I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just having, a moment. Says, though I'm still miffed that Horikoshi never revealed Izuku's father. Hisashi is, as promised, but just my prior nitpick and my general dislike with rushed endings.
Oh god, yeah. There's been a lot of. I'm going to be doing, at least on my channel anyway. I'm going to be doing a list for like the worst endings because there's just been a lot of that this year. Oh my god, there's been some really really bad endings. My Hero Academia is definitely one of them. It's not the worst this year though. Nah, there's worse than My Hero Academia's ending, but this is still bad. And the reason why the reason why this ending is bad is because of the epilogue arc. Because the epilogue arc didn't give the closure that for a lot of the characters that I wanted to see. Minus, Toya, which got, and the Todoroki family, which basically got the most closure. The rest of the epilogue arc was it was a clusterfuck. There we go. It was very much a clusterfuck. I didn't get to see like the stuff with the rest of the heroes that died. I wanted to see them like, I would have liked to seen a chapter where all of them were like at a graveyard and see like all of them just mourn the death, like all the fallen heroes. That would have been like a good segue into like talking about Stain. Could have gotten some really good stuff. I still would have liked to see Knuckle Duster up in there. We got to see Koichi and Captain Celebrity, but we never got to see Knuckle Duster, which really frustrates me because Knuckle Duster was the one who made Stain. So that really irritates me that Knuckle Duster was not there in My Hero Academia at all. So,
well, we're not exactly dealing with a writer that cares. One of the things that I realized with Horikoshi is he likes his roller coasters, among other things. He really likes his roller coasters. And the thing about roller coasters is they're not heavy on the details. They're more heavy about the, wow, that was crazy, wasn't it? All right, we're going to slow down for just woo, loop-de-loop. And that's Horikoshi's writing style. Is the second you feel like you're comfortable, bam, he pulls the rug out from underneath you. Whether that was smart or not, he just does it. And I got tired of it, and I walked away from it when he did it to Kathy. It was Star and Stripe. That, I will never forgive him for what he did to Star and Stripe. Never, ever. The guy has a special fixation on extinguishing female heroes. I will also, I'm a little mortified by how that guy just really, really enjoys beating the hell out of women. Not physically. Horikoshi doesn't actually hit women. I'm not suggesting that. But like in his manga, women go out really ugly every time.
I will say this, though, to be fair, how he closed out Shigaraki's story, for the most part, was really good. And I really liked how we got to see Nana's story closed out. Because Nana didn't know, Shigaraki, the previous One for All. She didn't know about all the stuff that was happening to Tomura. And when she did see it happen, in the subconscious, that was a very, very powerful moment. And
Sure.
and she intervened and stopped her basically stopped her son from hitting Tamara. And when she did that, it was just such a beautiful moment. It was haunting, obviously, but it was just such a powerful moment for the series. So there's certain things, and there was obviously the twist of, Shigaraki's father working with All for One. That was awesome. But yeah, there's like really good things in the, in the end prior to the epilogue that was really handled well. But it's just that epilogue arc was just a huge clusterfuck that left so many things unsaid, including like Izuku's father never getting revealed and stuff like that. And it just is so annoying.
Well, this person is very annoyed. They say killing off Toga is a canonically queer girl was already bad enough, but having her push, Ochaku toward a man is straight up evil. Like we were actually baited. Wow. Toga didn't die for this, and she shouldn't have died for this. Come on.
But like the whole thing with Toga and Ochako, like that was like a last minute thing, or it was a one-sided thing for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Ochako was gonna kill Toga at first. And for those of you that don't remember, she was gonna straight up like kill Ochako.
So this person,
but yeah.
So this person says, if Bakudeku is not canon, then I don't know what I'll do. What the hell did those who didn't even interact become? Oh, why the hell, rather? Author, listen to your audience.
But they did interact. Like
a lot. That it was first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even prior to the war too, they interacted as well. Like at the end of the Dark Deku arc, they interacted. Like she helped him get back on his feet.
Well, and we've got, I am incredibly disappointed that completely different characters who don't even interact ended up being canon.
But they did, though!
It's amazing. I really don't know how these people manage to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time.
The media illiterate is just, the media literacy that is happening in this country is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that word is just, this phrase is just kind of wore out. I think it's better than just people who aren't Tide Pod Challenge champions, right? It seems to be a rarity these days, especially in the anime community.
Oh my god, it's a lot of tourists. That's what it is.
Ooh, yeah.
That get all their information about said anime and manga from TikTok or memes on Twitter and Reddit.
Just say TikTok. TikTok
Twitter's is a pure cancer, I swear to God.
Not too many anime memes go around Twitter anymore, sad to say. But, love My Hero Academia, but killing off a queer woman to push a straight ship? What is this writing? There's things that I loved about MHA ending, but there are other things. It's just very disappointing, honestly.
But it wasn't pushed, though. It was set up from the very beginning.
Well, so here's the thing, okay? We know that there's some level of Toga's ability to communicate with Ochaku.
Yeah, because she consumes her blood.
Right, so there's some bit of her that will either always be there or it'll burn off slowly. So however it goes. What is important here, and again, like they missed this completely, okay? And I think it's because they got so fixated on the two of them being together in like a physical manner that they can't understand that. And please don't take this the wrong way, folks that aren't down with the LGBT. I just try to reason out the good part, not the deviant sex part. I'm trying to reason out the romantic part here, so just please bear with me. What this is that Toga never knew love. Her parents were mortified by her existence. And so getting to know Ochaku through drinking her blood became her gateway to being seen.
And it was the same with Deku as well.
Correct. And so because these people were so generous of heart, Toga knew in her heart that they wouldn't kill her, no matter what she did. No matter how angry they got, they could see inside of her that there was a hurt little girl. And moreover, Ochaku, being a woman, symbolized her mother. And so you can see how these feelings got crisscrossed, okay? And so here in this memory, simulated reality, I guess. It's not a memory.
Yeah, it's a
Here
simulated reality.
in this simulated space, Toga is releasing that prison that's hers that held Ochaku as well. They're completely missing that. That's a reason why the feathers are there. The bird cage, the cage is gone. They're free to fly now. Both of them have been set free from Toga's trauma. And they can't understand the love there.
Well, it's also Ochaku's trauma too.
Of course, yeah.
Because she was suffering from horrible PTSD after everything happened. Because she felt guilty because she because it pissed me off when it happened too. Because she ignored Toga's cries for help. Because she had that mindset that that there's only good and evil, and that Toga, it was a villain, and she'd been
deceitful before.
Yeah, there's that too.
Again, so like they can't perceive the romance here. They can't perceive that this person is setting both of them free from a terrible life, And it's difficult for modern audiences, right? These people here to understand that it's not a bright ending, but there really wasn't another way for Toga to go forward. Okay? No. One of the things that really annoyed me about My Hero Academia is that Horikoshi kept flirting with redeeming the ultimate evil, with doing a Goku and making friends with the big bad guy after all that he had done. And he would just be a friend and they would go off and no punishment would come the way of the big bad. And I'm really glad he didn't do that. But he didn't. Right, and I really feel like it was close, though. That's the problem. It feels like it was that close,
Well, here's the thing. All for One, no, it wasn't at all. With Toya, it kind of was, but once you found out Toya's backstory, though, and the situation he was in, especially with the family background and all that, yeah, that's a whole different situation. Yeah. So he got a little bit of a redemption, and he was a more like misunderstood villain, but that was because of his, the abusive background and everything. It was kind of the same with Twice as well. Twice was manipulated as well, and it kind of goes back to what All for One said in Vigilantes about quirk psychology. Like if the quirk consumed you, then you would be a villain. If you had control of your quirk, complete control of your quirk, you would be considered a hero. And Twice did not have complete control of his quirk. His quirk consumed him, so he was a villain. It was the same thing with Dabi/Toya
and Toga.
And Toga too. Their quirks consumed them.
Right.
So they were villains in that
because of what Stain said, that there was a focus on the celebrity of heroism, not the functionality of it. Mm-hmm. And that, again, I'm not telling you that Horikoshi's a bad writer. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying he's clearly got an angle and I didn't like it, so I got off. I just left the bus, But I get what he was up to. I appreciate the depth that he put into sending off Toga. But, Alpha Omega points out something here that just haunted me about most of My Hero Academia is that the female heroes, female characters, they get it the worst. After I read Midnight's Death, I felt sick to my stomach. It didn't show me anything my imagination did at all. It's like a Romero there with the Night of the Living Dead. You see the shadows, you know what happened. And you see everyone's horror talking about it afterwards. And I realize it's manga, it's Japanese, there's a different tone of it all, but Horikoshi kept repeating that over and over and over and over. The women bite it the worst in his stories, and I know he comes from horror, and that's how you really get people involved, is to kill a woman. They used to shove women in refrigerators in DC Comics, pretty infamous line about that, fridging women,
Yeah.
But it is one of those things that gets on. I wouldn't say it gets on my nerves. It just creeps me the hell out. It bothers me how like consistently it was the women that bought it the worst in My Hero Academia. Ugh.
Well,
Especially AFO's mother. My gosh.
Oh yeah.
What
Oh
a
yeah, and
horror
also,
story.
well, also remember what happened with Shigaraki's family, how they died. It was his
Yeah.
mother, his and his sister, and I believe his father too. That was gruesome.
Yeah, and it's just yeah. Well, it's not only that, but it's like how Horikoshi decides to portray it. And again, like he makes it clear that women are not as like capable as the male heroes. He makes it pretty obvious that a lot of them are betwixt celebrity and honor. There's Mount Lady's a good example. She wants to be a hero, but she also wants to be pretty. So there's a little bit of like, I don't want to catch a punch with my face. I'm going to catch a punch with my face. And especially when she went up against that monster creature, like that still turns my stomach. This is one of those things where I'm glad Horikoshi got it out of his system. I hope whatever he does is an open face horror, like the stuff we got from Uzumaki. I hope that's.
Well, he said he's doing a new one in an interview with Marvel. He came out and said he's going to be doing another series, and he can't do it for a while because he's promoting My Hero Academia. But after that, he'll be doing another one. His editor was suggesting that he just did the writing and have someone else do the art, which I totally understand because of his health issues. But he's like, no, he's gonna do both.
So I hope it's just an open face horror that he gets to go full bore with the stuff that actually gets him excited, and he's not trying to chase Marvel money, and that's good. You want to see some art from him though? This is pretty neat.
I love his Marvel art. It looks so good.
Again, that would be a fun twist of events. I would admit that I would probably pick up at least the first issue of a Spider-Man helmed, a Horikoshi helmed Spider-Man run. Even if it was just 6 issues, I would pick up at least the first one to find out what Horikoshi had for good old Pete. So it's clear where Deku's inspiration came from. So it'd be interesting to see Horikoshi getting his hands on the real deal. So.
But yeah, you got to show the other cover because that got a little bit of controversy this morning because people were saying that that Mirko was whitewashed, and like the other women look so weird. Like,
well, I wanted to say, like, leave it to an American artist to make all of these beautiful My Hero Academia characters fucking hideous.
I know, they look like they have pig noses.
I mean, look at I know that Kathy's top heavy, but her boobs are 2 of oh no, I forgot her name just like that. What's her name?
Which one are you talking about?
This one down here.
Are you talking about
Momo? Yeah,
Momo?
she's got one of her boobs is the size of 2 of Momo's heads. Like, that's ridiculous. What is happening with Felicia's face? Right, her nose bridge is jammed right into her frontal lobe, and then for some reason Ochako's over here with the pig nose, and
it looks fat as fuck too. She looks like she gained like 30 pounds.
Did you ever get to use Hero Maker? Do you remember Hero Maker, the Flash?
Yeah,
there was a Flash-based Hero Maker, and they you could put like mouths that were pre-made here, and it looks like they just strapped some mouths onto these faces. They don't quite seem attached to the heads that they're on. Like, look at Kathy's mouth. She's like 30. That's like 70% teeth. Like, how do you get your tongue out through that?
At least Mount Lady kind of looks good in the Marvel style. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I have a feeling if you took the mask off of her and the horns off of her, that's just White Queen. That's just I forgot her name. I'm great with names tonight. But yeah, there you go. There's Marvel trying to keep up. It's not going well. People are still claiming that Miriko is black. Miriko, rather, is black, and it's well established she's Gyaru and Japanese. Yeah, I ran into a group of people that were like, they were quite colorful with their language. So if you could think of combining the N word with a soft A and Piccolo, that's how Piccolo's black to them. And they were explaining that like Miriko's black, and they were explaining that a couple of other of these characters were black as well. And when I Googled them, I was like, no, you guys just clearly don't know what a Japanese person looks like outside of what's presented in an anime typically. And you don't know what a Namekian looks like?
They say that green characters are black coded, and I fucking hate it. That's what I want to know. It's just weird. Do they not realize how many people Piccolo murdered? Like Piccolo Jr., the guy that's running around that's orange now and 20 feet tall occasionally. That one murdered a lot of people. A lot of them didn't watch the original Dragon Ball.
They don't care. They're just like, Piccolo's a badass. Clearly he's black. It's like, nope. He's an alien. Technically, he's a demon.
Yeah.
Oh, Demon King Piccolo. It came full circle.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And like with Daima, more of the Majin Buu stuff came full circle as well.
What did they mean by this? The world may never know. I'm probably going to get this wrong, so I'm going to say Dagaz. I might get that wrong. Rune says, I'm watching from the past because I got here late. I will never understand why most shippers are obsessed with LGBT stuff.
I don't know either. I have no idea why Fujoshis are obsessed with LGBT stuff. I have no idea why Yuri Tards are the way they are. I just do not know.
It is because of the scandal. I 100%. It's one thing that gay men love, and it's one thing that women love. Straight or gay. They both, all three of them there. If you want lesbian, straight women's, and gay men, they all love scandal. And that's what you have to understand. We have been almost over a decade now with gay marriage, same-sex marriage being wide open, and yet we are still getting stories about these oppressed gay people, and I've yet to meet them. My best friend is a heavy metal loving Catholic lesbian that just 2 weeks ago married the love of her life from Brazil in a church. Blessed, because they're 9/10 compliant. They do everything they're supposed to, except that one part that Paul said you shouldn't do. But again, they're not out here trying to tell me that like this is healthy. The first thing that my friend told me was that if she could be straight, she would. It's just not worth it to her. And so here we go again with this like scandal thing, this immense feeling of like, yes, I have this destiny that I have to usurp the straight man. You saw these people in the comments and force them into a straight relationship. Well, we're all here because we're straight. That was one of the things my friend pointed out to me. Like, as much as these people want to fantasize about how everybody's gay all the time now, that you're all secretly gay, you're all closeted, everybody's really gay, you're all just hiding it. No. Nobody would be here if there weren't for straight people. And she keeps telling me, like, by all means, keep encouraging everybody to be more straight than they are right now. She even says this, it's too crowded. It's too crowded in the gay community now. There's too many posers. One of the things she told me was that I call them transbians. These are women that went out there fully straight, but they just want to have a night of lesbian sex so they can say, aha, I got that out of my system. I'm in control of my destiny. And that's it. There's nothing to it. And so that's why they have that fixation, is because it's the scandal. It's exciting. Ooh, my father would be mad if I was fantasizing about two women together. Woo! And that's what it's all about. That's all it is. It's really sad to have Horikoshi's work boiled down to daddy issues, but unfortunately, this is the state of Fujioshis. Speaking of drama queens.
Yeah, so this series has gotten quite the scandal. This series people are saying that it's anti-immigration. It is not. This is a fantasy surrealism, a new fantasy surrealistic series that came out this past Sunday, and it is more of like an anti-colonialism series than anything else. And basically, it follows a 17-year-old girl who lives in Japan, where aliens in this world save the Earth from a meteor, and because of that, the people on Earth like basically worship them. And they have when you look at the manga, you see that there's a little bit of a segregation kind of thing, but it's because they are treated better than humans. And it's really, really interesting. And after a coworker, one of the aliens dies, who's her boss, and the boss treats her like shit. Like there's abuse and all that, horrible working conditions. And one day, boss gets murdered, and she gets fired and sent and a death threat too. But one of her coworkers is in a similar situation, but the guy, his family was killed by these aliens, so he doesn't like them either, and he doesn't see them as people at all, and he killed one of them, and she ate one of them, and she basically ate the alien that he killed. And people are seeing this as racist, as xenophobic, as and are calling the author racist and xenophobic. It's like, dude, you people do not. Why are you reading a surrealistic manga? These types of series are extremely uncomfortable and talk about like very serious topics. But yeah, this manga is so good. I love this series.
So I'm gathering that the contention is that why is there sperm in the sky? That's weird.
Oh yeah, and one thing that people did not like is that what she said, the main character said, is that she doesn't like when people call their boyfriends their partner. And that really set people off. They're like, oh, they don't like gender neutral, someone that doesn't like gender neutral terms. I'm like, really? That's why you're pissed? Another reason why you're pissed off? But yeah, the alien tastes like squid. That's what she said.
Oh.
And so now she's going to be eating all the aliens.
Of course it has to do. Is there a food crisis in Japan we're not aware of? There's like 5 manga that are doing very well right now that are centered on eating things that were once alive and talking.
Well, the thing is with Namamoto, she's like poor as hell and she lost her job. So she needs something.
This kind of feels like eating animals is racist. Well, these ones were they talked. I don't know.
They're aliens. They're sentient beings that are getting treated better than humans.
Oh, that's right. Yajirobe ate one of King Piccolo's kids in Dragon Ball.
That's true. He did. So would Yajirobe be racist then by these people's logic?
Well, I mean, if there was going to be, if there was one character in Dragon Ball that they were going to make racist and xenophobic, it would feel pretty comfortable with Yajirobe, that's for sure, if there's one character. But
yeah, these people are saying, a lot of these people said, and you could look at the Manga Plus comments too to get more clarity. But yeah, like one person said, and when I was doing my live reaction, I was like, okay, I want to see what people are saying on this to see if I'm right that this is like anti-immigration or if it's something else. But they're like, yeah, this is more of an anti-colonialism kind of thing, because the aliens have already kind of somewhat taken over. They're already there and they are kind of colonized and they're already getting treated better than the actual Japanese citizens. They basically have integrated in a sense.
Oh, they're spaceships. They're not sky sperm. Oh, okay. I've been wondering the whole time, like, why is there so much jizz in the sky?
Yeah, that's spaceships.
Yeah, and then
it's
comments.
It says, especially since the aliens seem to plot their way to the new planet and have more rights than humans, and people worship them. That's why they were saying it's anti-colonialism versus anti-immigration.
Yeah, and again, this person is pointing out that Yuchujin is different from Gaikokujin. Gaikokujin, which is just foreigner. I just know it as gaijin. So
Yeah. But yeah, like some people, like a lot of people, see, there it is. The most annoying people are going to call this the manga of the year. Like these are the type of tourists that have been plugging this stuff. And there's also there's another one. The MC is a part of an oppressed minority group, and she's committing hate crimes, quote unquote.
So this is the thing: is that the West is going to continue to do this over and over and over again, no matter it's you.
Punch Robbie hates Nigeria.
But yeah, he fell for that Nigerian prince scam on the email there. But what we're dealing with is that the Western consumers are going to attempt to categorize the politics of everything they come across for a little while still. We did before, but it's been much more aggressive now with other people's cultures lately that we've been, at least that I have noticed, that we have been very comfortable with saying, aha, this is our politics, now reframed with the Japanese text. You know, before we were like, okay, that's Japan's culture, and those Japanners are doing their Japanner thing over there. Yeah. Our culture is different, you know. Now we're just like, no. Clearly, this mangaka lives in California and is inscribing their feelings about intersexual feminism in this book.
Well, part of it is probably because it's a localizer that's doing it, but this is a Drama Queen is a Manga Plus exclusive, so it is in Jump Plus. So you're not going to have that issue. This is Manga Plus. This is localized by Medibang. So Medibang does a really good job with their stuff. But there was someone that there are people that are saying like, how is this allowed on Jump and all that? It's like, yeah, you obviously have not read Jump Plus series before. To those people that are saying that, you haven't read Jump Plus series before. You haven't read Young Jump series before, because those series, the series that come from those magazines, are really, really dark and disturbing.
We have one here that says, could be class war motivated, manga and a literal eat the rich. Who knows? I don't know. It's not. It's
not. It's anti-colonialism. That's what it really seems like.
I think if you just ask the mangaka, there's like, no, the aliens just taste good. I just thought it would be funny if the aliens tasted good, and nobody tried that before until one fine day, one of them ended up burned, and he smelled kind of tasty, and they ate him. And then they decided that's how they were going to fight back, was to eat him.
But this one,
I guarantee you, well, I just want to say, I guarantee you that's the logic of the mangaka. Because you got to understand, Japanese creators are pretty wonky, and they take inspiration from just about everything, because Japan's fictional writing doesn't obey genre.
That's true. But this comment really sums this up. Not sure why people think that the highly advanced race of aliens that came to Earth and are using the native people's resources are the oppressed ones. That's what I don't understand about this whole thing. Why are these people like trying to defend the aliens when they are the ones kind of oppressing humanity?
Because, again, they're trying to apply the Western political dynamic that humans are bad, and if they're light-skinned, they're double bad. And that's what they're trying to do here, is that anybody that's not being presented as what Westerners identify as auto-oppressed, they're not interested. And that's why they want to talk about it like that. And again, like I said, these people, the mangaka, are not sitting there trying to apply this. Like, I love Pat Labor 2. Pat Labor 2 is an intensely political story. It is written by an ex-SDF officer who was serving, not involved in this incident, but was serving during a time that Japanese officers lost their lives during a UN event that the U.S. denied Japanese officers the ability to defend themselves, and so they were overrun and killed. And so this guy, you know, he didn't have a good time with that. So eventually he found his way into writing a script for Pat Labor 2. And that story is basically a one-to-one of what he witnessed. He wasn't part of it, but he witnessed it. And then he transported that back into like what a guy would do that didn't want to like sit with that the way that the writer did. What if someone wanted to get active about that? Okay. This manga is not about that. There's nothing. There's absolutely no. I don't even see the colonialist side of it. There's no indicator here that there's a political agenda behind this. The aliens don't even resemble anything like political. They are amorphous, melted elephant people, and one of them appears to have like a dick hanging out of his face. So it's like they're clearly not meant to be analogous to like anything on Earth, period. Like if you were going to make Donald Trump aliens, they would all have business suits and weird hair. That would be what you're going to do. So obviously it's not about that. Obviously it's not about white people. Obviously it's not about the Chinese. It's about aliens coming to Earth and the people that don't like them discovering that they're tasty. I guarantee you it's that simple, because that's how these guys work.
Well, that's probably what it is. But like, we only have one chapter. So,
Right.
And we don't know like the full extent of the aliens, but like the impression that I've gotten and a lot of people have gotten is that it seems like it is more of like an anti-alien colonizing series where they're going to fight or they're going to find out the truth that the aliens lied about the meteor, and that they are manipulating people so that they can ultimately colonize Earth. That's what I think people are getting from this chapter. That's what I got anyway.
Yeah, I would eat a gray. Yeah, you know, they're probably not too bad with wing sauce. You know.
But yeah, but the thing is that people need to also realize this is fantasy surrealistic. This is a fantasy surrealistic thriller series. Surrealism in general is just extremely weird and bizarre. And a lot of these people just can't handle surrealism, obviously. Like, people are comparing it to Chainsaw Man. Yeah, Chainsaw Man is surrealism. I've had so many people tell me that Chainsaw Man is not surrealism, and they prove my point by saying that this looks like Chainsaw Man. It's like, yeah, Chainsaw Man is surrealism. It's not as surrealistic as I would say this series is. And Dead Man's Day-to-Day Destruction. That's another one that's a surrealistic.
Paranoia Agent was one.
Yeah, same with Hoseki no Kuni. Hoseki no Kuni is surrealistic as hell. That one is just way beyond the people complaining about this. It's way about Drama Queen. I mean, that's way beyond them. They would not be able to handle Hoseki no Kuni. That manga is so good. I'm sad that it ended, but it was definitely the best ending of this year, and probably one of the best endings for a manga in a really long time, at least since Gintama, anyway, for me.
Well, and you know, when Spencer gets here, we'll
definitely talk about Gundam. Yeah, because even and I told you this too. Like, even mangaka are talking about Gundam, because I haven't checked to see if Morikawa, the mangaka of Hajime no Ippo, was talking about it or not, because he actually is a huge Gunpla collector, and he like posts his Gunplas that he's building on Twitter. So I haven't checked to see if he said anything, but I know the mangaka of Zatch Bell said something, and he is a huge Gunpla collector. And he also I didn't realize it until like a couple days ago, that he is a motorcycle rider too. And I guess in Japan they have something kind of similar to Sturgis, and he took part in it too, which I thought was really sick. I didn't realize he did that. It's probably why we didn't have Zatch Bell last month.
So Alpha Omega asks, what event was this, and why did the U.S. deny JSDF police things they needed? So this was in Cambodia in 1993. I'm sorry, will that go away if I press a button? Or to continue? No, okay, go away. All right, so apparently New York Times just wants you to let you know. So anyway, what happened was there was a UN action there, and it involved using they were mostly there just to be boots on the ground, assisting with medical supplies, moving around, relief supplies, that sort of thing. And this was a contested space at the time, not intensely so. We're not talking like Kosovo and stuff like that in the middle 90s. This was just sort of one of those situations where outside influence was required. I forget what it was. I don't think it was Pol Pot. I want to say that was way earlier than that. But whatever was going on in Cambodia, the Japanese were sent in, and the situation unfolded where they were gunned down, and due to the political situation, the Japanese firing on Cambodians would probably have made things a lot worse. And again, they were denied that, and they were unable to escape, though. That's the other thing. And I assume wherever they had found their way in, they weren't able to get air cover to get them out. And again, JSDF not trained to do active military stuff. They do train to defend Japan. They don't do a lot of stuff on how to behave on other people's territory. And so I imagine they were probably unable to really navigate through Cambodia's terrain, as it's not exactly different from Japan, but it's unfamiliar to them. And the enemy was able to get a hold of them. So that's what happened. And that's what happened. That's what caused the Patlabor 2 storyline, was that writer had witnessed that, and it sort of left a reminder. And that's what Patlabor 2 is all about, is the US's control over Japan, and how quickly that can turn poisonous for the Japanese, having no recourse to resist whatever happens with the US. And the US is a phone call away before they can take action, which is an intensely dangerous position to be in with an active enemy. So, and that's what that whole story was about. One of my favorite scenes is when the Wyvern is flying over Tokyo airport there, but it's not. There's no Wyvern. It's just Wizard, and they changed Wizard's call sign to make it look like Wyvern. And that was just the coolest thing, that these guys were hunting a jet that wasn't even there, and they're all using like the real deal, like air lingo and stuff. You know, I'm bingo, I'm tango, no joy, no joy. And I love it. It's so cool. And again, giant robot anime, right? In the middle of that, you've got the Patlabors kicking ass. They're fighting these 15-foot tall sea rams that have been put down in some type of sewer line. And it's the craziest thing, because all of the Patlabor operators have these huge personalities. Like, you forget sometimes they're inside of the robots, because these characters are just so larger than life. I love Patlabor 1 and Patlabor 2, but Patlabor 2 really stands out for me. I highly recommend it. And again, the more you learn about where this stuff comes from, the more you learn, like, you can kind of tell the line when someone's trying to be political and when someone's got just a cute idea of what if they ate the aliens, you know? I got a message here.
Oh, Spencer needs 5 more minutes, he said.
Oh, okay. He's working. So, yeah, no, it's one of those things, like, we had, what was going on here? Patlabor 2, the Wyvern scene. Nah, it's too boring. It's pretty boring. Without the context, it's boring. But yeah, that's where that came from. That is the instance on that. Now, I don't endorse doing things to the government at all. Wherever you are in the world, I don't think it is a wise idea to go tromping up to any law enforcement with any type of weaponry with the intent of doing harm. I don't think it's a wise idea. Okay? And we're on YouTube, so I just want to make sure we're all talking about the right thing, because what I'm about to show you is cool as fuck. Okay? All right, now don't do this at home. Okay, so over in Georgia, there are some unhappy people with what the government is up to.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, I've been seeing that. Yeah.
Now, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on in Georgia, because it's never, ever going to affect me, and I can't tell you what the people on the ground actually believe. But there was one brave fellow that decided to put a bunch of Roman candles together into a minigun, and someone attached some music.
That's so awesome.
And that's what heavy arms would look like in real life. Look, they built a shield around him and everything. It's amazing. Give it a fist. Yeah! But it's over. So there you go. But yeah, I don't know what's going on over in Georgia. I'm not endorsing it or whatever, but that was cool as fuck. And that was really cool that they added the Endless Waltz music to it too. Because again, people fighting for their independence or against it, I'm not sure. And
and what's happening in Georgia is the people are not happy that that Georgia is being denied the right to join the EU. That's why they're pissed. So.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
That's sad.
It's
there are
sad.
other sad things going on too. And they involve Crunchyroll deciding to take One Piece into pay-to-play mode only.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that, though, that I don't think people understand is that with One Piece, there's a Pluto TV. There is a One Piece channel where you can watch One Piece 24 hours, 7 days a week for free. It's sub only though, and Tubi has episodes of One Piece for free as well. And I know you need a VPN for it, mind you, and I don't know if they have the subtitles for it. But there is the One Piece YouTube channel, the Japanese One Piece YouTube channel that has One Piece as well. So it's like, yeah, Crunchyroll doing this is really fucked up. But it's like, dude, there's plenty of ways to watch One Piece legally for free.
Yeah, I just think it's stupid that they went and put it behind a paywall. They've been complaining about trying to attract a new base, about trying to reinforce their base, and then they say, we're just going to shove you over to this other service because it's easier. Consider that you make it through the first 2 seasons, and then they're like, oh, by the way, you got to pay now. Well, guess what most people are going to do? They're going to jump over to that other service and wait for the episode they want to roll around. So it's one of those things where, like, I don't think Crunchyroll knows what they're doing. Like you were explaining with that guy last time, taking them out of the movie theaters. I don't think they know what they're doing. I think they're just kind of poking, stabbing wildly, hoping money falls out.
Perini has no idea what he's doing. Well, we're talking about the same person that ran Funimation to the ground is running Crunchyroll right now.
Yep.
So yeah, they really have no idea what they're doing.
And it's not going to stop. That's the other thing is that the Crunchyroll's comfortable with what they're up to. They clearly are like, yeah, we can risk losing people over this. Doesn't suck too much to put it behind a paywall. They can live with it.
And it's also Netflix. There's we're gonna have Gen Z come from Netflix and into Crunchyroll. It's like, dude, no, they're just gonna stay on Netflix. What are you talking about? Or they're going to pirate.
Well, they'll go to that other service.
Or Tubi or Pluto.
So one of the things that is going on right now is the Kadokawa buyout involving Sony. Okay? And this is turning into being a war of attrition. It is now becoming clear that Sony does not have as deep a pockets as it has been bragging. What do you know? $400 million burned on Concord is actually kind of the ding. How about that? And among the other failures they've had. But this is an ongoing tug of war. Kadokawa is saying, you don't have enough to buy what we are. And Sony's saying, bet. It's like they're trying to... They're basically trying to underbid them into giving away what is basically an
empire.
Yeah, it really is. When you take a look at Kadokawa's holdings, I think, is that listed here? Or is this a meme over here? Oh. So this person, it's his game rant. So again, grain of salt.
I mean, we looked at what Kadokawa has, like, a week or a couple weeks ago. Kadokawa is a freaking empire. They have everything. There's no way that including Japanese tourism.
So what is important here is that they say Sony Group stated that it was planning to allocate 1.8 trillion yen for investments and share purpose. I think that's 12 million, not 12 trillion. That's not how dollars to yen work. I think that's supposed to say million, not 12 trillion.
Or billion or something, but
yeah, maybe a billion. Yeah, billion probably is more what they meant. Roughly $12 billion toward investments and share repurchases. But this could already be stretched thin due to other purchases like music
yeah.
rights.
And
for
also,
example,
remember they bought Pal World too.
right? And
They had that
so,
partnership with Pal World. Excuse me.
right. Well, it's as it goes with Sony. How far are you from partnership to being a slave?
Mhm.
So the situation we find ourselves in is that this is going to continue to broil on for the next few months, and it's going to get uglier and uglier from here. Kadokawa is going to fight being bought, and Sony is not going to give
They
up
don't.
the
They're not
ghost.
going to fight being bought. What are you talking about? They want to be bought.
What? Why are they telling Sony that they can't have From Software and all these other things then?
Because what's really happening is that Sony is looking at specifically their entertainment stuff, their anime, manga, video games operations. But the problem is they can't just buy those pieces. Kadokawa was saying, like, if you want to buy all of it, you have to take all of us. Otherwise, like, the other part of it's not really going to survive. The Kadokawa employees are the ones, they want to be bought out right now because they're afraid that other companies are going to come over and take them out. So they're the ones who, according to reports, reached out to Sony and said, hey, can we get a deal going?
Okay.
Yeah, they're worried about like they're worried about like
Mm-mm.
Tencent. They're worried about like Tencent and like another Korea. People were saying Kakao and from Korea, but according to like some other reports that I saw, that they don't really have that much of a neck in the race with their shares. But yeah, I think the primary concern is Tencent more than anything else.
For good reason.
for a very good reason.
Well, and it's not any surprise. They don't want Japanese. They want Chinese companies owning Japanese
or Korean
landmarks,
too.
Well, that's true. There's also that deep ravine between those two cultures as well.
Yeah, they hate each other. Everybody over there hates each other. Let's be real.
Yeah, we really lucked out by just like arriving here and just not having neighbors that can hate us. It's really neat. We were just like, hey, everybody gonna be cool with it?
Well,
yeah,
like,
all right,
Canadians hate us and Mexico hates us. We can deal with two. In Asia, you're always surrounded by like at least 7 people who want you exterminated. Not just like away from them. They want you gone.
That's true. Wiped off the face of the earth. You can't go anywhere else. You have to leave the planet. Yeah. And they're all jealous of Japan too because of what happened in the 90s and early 2000s. So, and
With their economic boom.
The Japanese miracle. But speaking of a Japanese miracle, we did get some interesting news from Sunrise about the latest Gundam series. It looks like somebody fell asleep on their keyboard.
Oh, yeah, the title. I have that was going to be my intro joke is, guys, I have no idea how to pronounce this name. Like, I don't even know how to start. Nerdigans, do you have any insight?
No, it's like
Kumix, Quicks, Cranks.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been calling it Gundam Uwu. That's all. That's what I've been calling it. Because there's like 6 U's in there, and I'm sure we all know like Gundam. Those 6 U's are gonna like mean something, either like militarily or thematically.
Well, it's actually the name of the Gundam that's
what I mean.
Used here. But yeah,
that's what I mean. In the Gundam's name, those 6 U's are going to either like be a military thing, where it's like this is the grade of the engine inside of it now, or as Cider and I were talking yesterday, it's going to be some very high level meta reference to the theme of the show or something, where it's like it's all about how much you are inside of your goals or something like that.
Well, considering who's working on the script, yeah, it's probably going to be something extremely deep and complicated.
I love this because this script is literally just being written by the Evangelion team. It's Ano and what's his name? I forget the script compositor, but that guy,
then,
like those
yeah,
two
and you
together,
have the director. Well, you also have the director from Evangelion 3.0, and
well, no, you have the director from all of them.
Yeah.
Not just 3.0. He directed all of the Rebirth movies.
Yeah, and also the previous set too.
So we're not going to play the audio, just so you know.
So
if you guys are looking forward to hearing any of this, sorry, that's not here. But what we do is look at the visuals of it.
Pretty.
Yeah, you can feel
with Take on the art, Nerdigans.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't mention that in your article. I had to add that. I was like, I thought you would jump on that. The
No,
Pokemon character designer is
I
doing.
know. I forgot to add that. I forgot to add that. Yeah, people have been going nuts about Take being drawing this or being the character designer. But something that I've been seeing, and this is like what Murata said in particular, the One Punch Man mangaka, is that he said that it doesn't really feel like Gundam.
Probably
I think
because
that's
it
the
feels
goal.
like an Evangelion show.
Well, one of the things that's immediate right off, like in your usual Gundam things, they're by about the 30-second mark, it's giant robot war. So we are fully
it's not
on
even
into
giant robot war, Cider.
Right.
It's basically G Gundam again. That's what I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, and so the theme of it though is you're starting to let's get to the mecha. I'll explain when I'm talking about we get to the mecha.
But yeah, straight up the entire plot of this, guys, is you got to engage in clan battles, right? Yeah, and they're essentially just Gundam fights from G Gundam. You even got to destroy the head and everything. Kabuto
Right.
Gundam!
So okay, so the first thing that I really noticed about this is it was like, oh, that's the robot from Eureka 7.
If you want a better like shot of the mech itself, I have the Gunpla in the article that Nerdigans wrote, which is just like standing there and you can look at it, which is way easier than trying to stop a frame.
Oh no, we have the whole thing right here.
Oh, perfect. Oh yeah, there you go.
The whole full breakdown of it. So this is what it looks
there
like.
you go, there you go. Perfect.
And so I'll just open it.
The G cucks.
Well, they're compressing it for a reason, and it comes down to being.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I didn't
Yeah.
even notice that in the logo.
And the X is also severed, which tells me that there's going to be some type of telescopic transformation effect to this, where it has like it's a modular situation, sort of lock-in kind of thing. So we'll see the Gundam sort of be more common ridery, I think, with modifiers attached to it as it goes through the battle. Because that's what it looks. This is what it looks to me, is that the U's are meant to represent that these are like in a line.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the most expressed version of it. And
yeah,
so
that's kind of what I was feeling.
So
after you said that, for the last like 3 seconds, of course, because
yeah, sure, yeah,
you have all credit for that. I didn't realize that at all.
So this is what I mean, though, is that the color scheme and all the rounded edges, and then like, the very skinny arms and the huge hips reminded me of the robot from Eureka 7, or however you want to say it.
Oh, definitely, especially with the use of the red as stripes.
Yeah,
like that really reminds me of Eureka 7, and then the shoe or the feet, of course, how they're sort of rounded more. I don't think you're wrong. I think so. Nerdigan, sort of to what I was saying, the mecha designer for this series is also the Evangelion mecha design. Like this is literally just Evangelion does Gundam.
Yeah,
Nirvash. That's right. The
it's
Nirvash.
Might as well just call it like an Evangelion crossover.
Like Mobile Suit Evangelion or something, right? Like there you go. Boom. Sell 5,000 more whatever merchandise. Than
No. Mobile Suit Third Impact. Mobile Suit Gundam. Third
that
Impact.
Sounds cool as heck. Like I want to watch that right now.
That does sound way cooler. I mean,
this is what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
It's like I instantly I was like, oh, that's the Nirvash, and they're not exact. They're not exact, but like at a quick glance, I was like, whoa, I've seen that before.
The thing here is that you can obviously see the Evangelion influence, but those are two different style. Like Gundam and Evangelion are two different styles of mechs. Like Gundams are supposed to be military machines, right?
Real
and then
robot.
your Evangelions are like half alive parasite hybrid things that are basically supposed to be
moms.
Like people. Yeah, they're your moms, your moms. So I think they leaned like I can see the basic Gundam design elements here, right? Like you were saying, Cider, you got the colors, you've got the basic like head shape,
the V-fin,
yeah, exactly. But then it leans so far into not Gundam. I'm not necessarily like I'm torn on this design because on one hand, I really like the helmet, and I like there's a shot we saw in the trailer where like that beetle fin like wraps around its head and then like pops out when it's ready to go, sort of like old Gundams. And I really like that. But then I'm with you, Cider. It just feels too human. It feels too slim. It feels too, not Gundam.
It feels too much like it's leaning into the Evangelion side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Like
what I've been seeing on Japanese Twitter is a lot of people
Yeah.
like, this doesn't feel like Gundam. It looks cool, but it just does not feel like Gundam.
Right. It feels like one of those fan arts where somebody's like, I wanted to draw the RX-78 as an Eva mech or something like that, right? And then they built off of that. That's what it feels like.
I don't quite. What's that?
But people did like the police Zaku. That's what people.
I mean, but to be fair, the police Zaku is just a black Zaku. You can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah.
Does it come in black?
Does it come in black?
Alpha Proto says, now that the Gundams are CG, animators don't have to draw them. They look much more complicated. Yeah, I noticed that with the Barbados, that Barbados
was... Oh, the Barbados is so complicated compared to
Right.
old designs.
And then you get, especially when you get a hold of the Gunpla kit, the HG, and you're like, whoa, look at all this. Somebody
there are
was
like
bored.
slides and stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah, right.
Parts
So-
I never would have thought about.
Right, is really bored with the design on that one. They were just like, "What do we just put everything in it?" And quite obviously, this is what happens. See, I don't get Evangelion out of this. At first, when I saw this, I thought that old man Tomino was back, and he was taking another shot at Reconquista.
No, yeah. As
And
soon
I
as
was-
you said I don't get Evangelion, I was like, oh no. Oh, I know what Cider's about to say.
Right. It feels like it's another shot at Reconquista, which is like, what if we built a kind of cute Gundam, but super duper deadly? And you know, it's got these little faces on the side that are going ooh, and they kill you. You know, it's got little mommy birthing hips on it, but they probably unfold into laser cannons that like the murder disco ball, the Akira pilots, you know, the Freedom Gundam. And it's got these cute little nods that there's a girl pilot to it, as we're made aware of. And where did that go? There it is.
There she is.
What that stood out to me is I was like, I don't think this is an immediate response to trying to like we're gonna do girl character again, but she's not gonna be gay, guys. Promise. We're not even gonna get any close to that. We're not even gonna hint at it. So straight, it'll be crazy. I don't think it's that, but I think there's like a little twist. There's one guy at the boardroom that was like, "All right, this one's not gonna be gay, right?" And that was that one guy. But I just have when I saw her, I was like, you don't think that they're doing red hair again with that color scheme, mostly light colored uniform. They're not really trying to undo the previous female pilot, are they?
If you look at like the trailer, I definitely, and Nerdigans, you can weigh in on this too. I definitely got Witch from Mercury vibes from it, from the idea of like, here's this young, inexperienced pilot, like super inexperienced, who's her journey is to learn how to pilot the suit as like a student, and then she's thrown into like a big, not like a war, but a big like conflict, I guess is the best way to put it, and then sort of has to find her way through it like that. Like I definitely got Witch from Mercury vibes from here. I didn't know, I didn't have as strong of a like, are they gonna replace her? I don't know, but I'm like, something's here. There's something to this.
There could be. Well, it could be like a redo kind of thing, because remember, Witch from Mercury was really divisive amongst the Gundam fans.
Even that lesbian like ending aside, it was super divisive.
Right. Before the gay came on, people were tired of high school Gundam.
Yeah.
So,
and this doesn't seem to be
so
like
hard into it for that series. Like,
it doesn't seem like it's going to be like that here. It doesn't.
She's wearing a school uniform for a reason. And I have a feeling the clans are going to feel more like Build Fighters Try, where it's a tournament sort of set up, and there's these different clans are heavily trained. And I just really like the beanie on the Haro.
I did too. That's what a lot of people on Japanese Twitter commented on. They love the beanie.
I can't wait till they give him a cigarette. You know they're going to give him a cigarette. I can't wait. It's going to be great. He's going to look like it's a silent Bob.
Yeah, there's going to be a scene where they're all like hanging out or whatever, and they're like, you know, what are they called? Cider Nerdigans, like the when they all get together like after work and they go out and they get drinks and they sit down at the like low table at the restaurant, you know what, like it's such a basic term that they always say, like meetups or something like that, whatever. But that's what like Japanese culture does a lot. So I can imagine them doing a scene where all of the main characters, they get together, they're having dinner and drinks, and there's just in the corner spot, there's a Haro with a cigarette on him and a glass of whiskey just sitting there.
Yeah. Then again, you could do Jay and Silent Haro. You got two Haros that
love that. Just have him constantly smoking behind her.
Right, and but they have like the worst suggestions. They're like, Haro, you should probably take nudes. That'll totally distract the police, Zaku.
Haro, you don't need your space suit. That takes up too much time getting into the suit. Just go.
Instead of Haro, they say bro. They say
bro.
Listen, you don't need your spacesuit, bro.
Dude, Cider, I just realized with the beanie and the white color scheme, it's the Doomer Haro.
Yeah, it's the Doomer Haro. Like, what's the point? All this clan war. It's a depressed robot from Hitchhiker's Galaxy.
So that's
what's the point?
We need to go save our friends. Why?
They're just going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that looks so sick though. The close up of the Gundam.
Yep,
that looks so fire.
They knew what they were doing when they introduced the police Zaku as well.
That Zaku looks sick. I'm not gonna lie.
It's cool.
They are definitely going to. We lost it. I went not far enough.
It's a little bit. Oh,
Too
you went
far
to the beginning now. Yeah,
There
it's like right here.
So
Then she goes,
the police Zaku is going to be a fan favorite,
There it
and
is.
I cannot wait for SWAT Zaku, like the whole squadron of SWAT Zaku.
Oh my god! What is there's that mech in like in Mobile Suit Gundam, and I'm forgetting who pilots it, but it's that giant one with the shield that's basically like the size of Europe. You know who I'm talking about? Oh, I'm gonna look it up. Vamp for a second. I sound like an idiot. Cider, Nerdigans, you know what you're talking about. I don't.
But I will say this though, like the police Zaku has a big fandom on Japanese Twitter. They
Absolutely.
are all excited for the police Zaku.
Well, you can make a whole like police battalion now. You know, it's going to be great. I can't wait for them to start like grafting badges onto them and stuff, like the customizers creating badges for them and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
there's going to be some major
the,
they're going to sell a ton of these gunpla.
Oh yeah. Give them white hands, right? So they look like they have the policeman's gloves that they wear in Japan, the police wear. It's going to be perfect. You can already see the line of Zaku saluting the Japanese flag wearing their police uniforms. It's going to be great.
God,
I kind of want to see just in like an establishing shot in an episode. You don't need to like focus on it. But once you said the white glove cider, it made me think like, what if on Earth or Mars or whatever setting we're in right now, and we'll talk about that in a second, Nerdigans, because that's interesting speculation that you put down in your article. But imagine a giant like Zaku, like traffic, like okay, this side, like you can go, stop, kids, you can come across the street. Like I would pay to see that for like 30 seconds.
the Zaku crosswalk guard.
Yeah, the Zaku pilot who messed up really bad, and now he got like demoted to traffic duty.
So, Timon, Meteor Herald, member of the channel, asks, what the fuck is this crap? This is the latest Gundam series.
Oh, Timon.
We're trying to figure it out.
So Timon is also very much an 80s, 90s purist. So he sees this and he goes, nope, I'm out, which is, I love the guy, but I know as soon as I always like, I talk to him a bunch and I'll be like, oh, check this out. New costume for a character. And he's like, that sucks. Check out the 80s. It was better. And I'm like, yes, you're right. But this is still cool.
Yeah, this is from Stardust Memory. Probably the best animated Gundam series ever for really no apparent reason.
Just they all decided this was going to be the one
that
was
the one
all of their effort into.
Yeah, and I'm still beside myself why that's the one. It's not that it's a bad one, but it's like, why this one?
It's just like, you would think they would do it for something like a Gundam Wing or a G Gundam or a Unicorn, you know, things that either are breaking the mold and you want to like highlight them, or series like Unicorn that are meant to celebrate the franchise, right? Instead, they were just like, this is the random Gundam project we're doing this year. By the way, it's going to be the best one. We're going all out.
Yeah, and it really is like a total like fart in the wind of a story. Like it doesn't affect anything in the greater UC situation because they don't even hold on to the Gundam. So it's like, what is the point of this being so well animated? It kind of made me angry when I was watching it on Adult Swim as a kid. I was like, why isn't Gundam Wing like this? Why isn't any other UC installation like this? Like, take for a minute how well done 08 MS Team is.
Yes. Oh,
now,
I
imagine if they got
don't, but I love it.
Imagine if that got the Stardust memory treatment where like you're watching more of Norris's beautiful movement, right? And you can just see that whip just traveling right at you with all the light glare. And when you've got the commander that's screaming, I'm gonna marry Aina, that kind of thing. And then when the laser's blowing up the land, you've got all that lava effect. But no, Stardust memory was the one they threw it all at.
That's the one, guys.
we can't. We're just gonna do what we do.
So,
you're not here.
I found a rumored leak for Gundam on Twitter just now that might shed a little bit more insight on the setting.
Oh,
Ooh,
I'd hate that. I
crazy.
hate that a lot.
I don't know how I feel about that, but my ooh was at that weird looking red RX-78.
Yeah, that's Char's Gundam.
That Char's Gundam, that one looks straight up like an Evangelion unit. Like, not even kidding. That one is just straight up, gonna go fight the angels.
But or like an angel took over.
Infected by an angel, even better. Next, Third Impact.
Yeah, Gundam Third Impact, yeah. And it says, regarding the new Gundam, that name, it is rumored that the leak is real. This is going to be a wild series set in an alternate UC where Char stole a Gundam and painted it red. Versus the main MS, which is a Saikamu system for new types, not to mention Amuro as of yet. So I don't get that feeling from this, but it is heavy on the colonies, so I can't deny that that's a possibility. It's focused on the colonies, and Char would not give two shits about the Earth. So, in fact, it wouldn't be habitable.
Right, and that's what I was referencing a moment ago. In her article, Nerdigans noted that current speculation based on the trailer out of like Japanese Twitter is that area, the colony they're on in the show, is side 3, the one where they like founded the Xeon and launched all the attacks in the original. So like Nerdigan said that, and I was like, ooh, that could be cool. I would be interested in seeing more like I would see that as sort of a sequel, like later on in the timeline or whatever, or maybe earlier in the timeline. But this idea of alternate universes, I don't know. I feel like once you do that for Gundam, there's no going back, right? Like we have alternate timelines and we have alternate, or I mean, that's basically it. It's just alternate timelines. But the second you start going like, oh, we have this series that ends like that, and then there's this series that changes the ending that way, and then we'll do another one that changes it that way. I am getting like American comic book flashbacks, like bad ones, like PTSD.
Well, and here's the biggest problem with this. Char's Gundam would not look like that at all.
No.
Okay. In the, I think it was just a Gunpla exclusive. I don't believe this was ever actually done. Maybe it was in a manga where Char, they did do some type of copy of the RX-79. And it was that Char iconic coral red color that he likes so much, and that was it was like RX-70 RX-79R or something like that. It was something like that for the red.
79 sounds like something Petty Char would do to name it.
Yeah, and so the situation with that is that was like a one-off thing. If Char were to get a hold of a Gundam, it would be specced out to the absolute bonkers, ridiculous level. Not these dragon fruits with toothpicks poking out of them. They look like the things you get in your drink that has the cherry on it, right? It just doesn't have the umbrella at the end.
That's what they look like, and then they also look like to me. Well, now I got another one, but it's like the bagpipe type instrument they play, but it's not bagpipes with like it's more of like a bag, and then it's just like a hookah. That's what it reminds. I get a very Middle Eastern vibe from that.
Right.
thing.
And the other thing is that as we saw with Zazabi, Char likes bulky, big, strong-looking machines, you know. And
he's got to what do you call it? Like, you got to present. If you're going to be a leader, show them you're the damn leader.
Right. And
show of
it
power.
looks like the majority of the alterations when you look at these two machines, I'm going to let's see where we are. I'll separate it out into a new tab so we can get up on that little Gundam here. Zoom in on it. Where am I? My gosh. Zooming in on the wrong spot. So as you can see right here,
my beautiful wife.
this these leg joints, right? These leg joints, and then we go over to Char's Gundam, and these leg joints are still present, but then they went and cut into the leg armor and added these extra pieces here.
Ooh.
You know?
Put that image through Google Translate, and you'll see something very interesting.
What do you know?
Yeah, I got this is what it came up for me. It said for the Ren Gundam, it said it was originally a mobile suit of the Federation Army, but was captured by Char after he became aware of the development plans and was subsequently painted red and became his favorite suit. And towards the end of the war, it suffered what does it say? It says like a SciComm communication accident that wiped out half of Solomon Fortress and went missing along with Char. And then after the war, Shuji appears in a red Gundam that appears inside 6, and together with Amade, they take part in a clan battle. So yeah, this does confirm that this is inside 6.
Where'd that leak come from, Nerdigans? Do you know where they're getting that?
That's what I'm trying to find. I found another
because that photo that Cider has up with like the Gundam.
Yeah, that's the one I just put. That's the one I just put in Google Translate.
Right. But what I'm saying is like that looks like super official. Like it's not like you see it all the time, Nerdigans, when somebody gets leaks, they'll just like grab images and throw them together and it'll always look janky or whatever, but it's just because they're trying to get it there. Like that's what this feels, or this is not what that feels like. Like this feels like it's taken from an art book or an actual production website.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out because I found it on, I wonder if they got it from this Japanese Twitter page, but they don't even have it sourced either.
Maybe, who knows then?
So,
like I might have to go look on Gundam Reddit or something.
I'm gonna, if this is official, I hate it. I'm just gonna say it. I hate it. Because I know what they're gonna do. You're gonna get zombie Char, and it's gonna be back to Mask Man. Is it Char? Is it not Char? Is it full frontal? Is it not full frontal? Have they cloned Char again? What is it? And obviously, this machine is meant to look undead. That you can,
1000%, yeah.
It's meant to look like rotting flesh, undead, melted sort of phantom.
I mean, look at all the holes in its like face mask, right? Very skull reminiscent.
Yeah, and so that's definitely the whoops. Where did I go? Yeah, so that's the angle they're going with it. So you're going to get this interrupting a clan battle, and it'll be believed to be Char's return. And it'll be a mask character, and they'll be like, "Oh, we know it's Char," and then it won't be Char under there because they'll be like, "Aha, we've double faked you." And then meanwhile, Char will be Megatron, and like you remember that from Transformers animated where he was the head, and it'll be like Char on life support guiding this guy into fucking with his own people because the zombies are the ones now acting as Char underneath him. Whereas he was acting Char underneath the zombies, and that's how they're going to flip it. I hate that I know how this is going to go!
See, here's my alternate, so it's not exact, but it is very close to what you're saying. I don't know if Char will actually appear unless it's like the last episode and he does something where it's like, you don't see him, but he talks to what's her name and makes like she becomes a new type or some, end of anime, like we're all going to the next plane sort of BS that they always do all the time.
Wait, Spencer, it's even worse. It's even worse. Even worse. She's probably one of those kids is probably the child he had with not the character that died because she didn't die. Moon, what was her name? Lala Zune.
Yeah, Lala.
And
No.
so she didn't die. So one of those kids is going to be the descendant, and that's how our pilot ends up finding Char on life support because he's new type reaching out to his daughter.
Oh no!
Because remember, Char wasn't full new type. He was halfway there. He had that spatial awareness. Having been brought to death, he now crosses the threshold to have Amuro's ability to talk to ghosts. So,
okay, see, my take was going to be no Char, but it's going to be one of those things like you're saying where somebody is posing as Char or using his name, and then the whole thing sort of becomes this philosophy battle about like who has Char's real will. But no, that yours sounds so Gundam and dumb that I think that's going to happen.
Well, it's like the perfect combination of Gundam and Evangelion and
yes, actually,
the father is the problem, and he's unwilling to move with his
your
plans.
Parent relationship, and
because you got to
between life and death and things like that.
Yeah, because you got to remember that you have the Evangelion team on this, so you got to think it from that perspective. And looking at this red Gundam, it's like, yeah, this looks like something you would say.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, just a red Ava unit.
And that's what you're going to end up with in the end too, because it'll probably move like that as well. If you look at the way that they've got the joints in the wrists, it's clearly supposed to take an animal stance at some point, where the wrists roll back into the arms. And so
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you take a look at the knees. Take a look at the knees. There's clearly knives in there. The way that they had the accessory kneecaps with the Evas. Yep.
Yeah, this really looks like something straight out of Evangelion.
Yeah, and the feet. If you just squint your eyes a little bit, the feet kind of look like the shoes that the Evas wore.
Well, I was gonna say, if you cut off like that bottom part, like that looks like a Gundam foot, then yeah, you basically just got an Ava foot.
Yeah. Of course, it's accompanied by angels, and what you'll know in the anime is that those funnels were not present when Char was struck down and lost in the explosion. The funnels are new, and that'll be the expression of the Saikamu incident. You know, they were testing these. That'll be what happened. Is they were testing these, and they went nuts and tried to kill Char because he hates himself, and it's all going to come back to Char's daddy issues. It's all going to come back to his mommy issues, because that's what we do now. We don't tell war stories. We tell interpersonal family dramas.
I know. Like that's literally what I was about. I'm like, dude, when did we hit, like at what point in the last few years did we go from Gundam to Star Wars?
Right?
Like this is
Char's just Vader now. I guarantee you he's going to be Vader.
God, I can see it.
He's 100%
a breathing machine and everything. He'll be going. I need to kick something in space.
You join me, child. I never knew I had. We can rule the colonies.
Lala soon hid you from. Look into your new type ability. I am your father.
What was that again?
Watch it not be the pilot that's Char's kid, and it's actually like the mechanic.
There's one of them that's running around that has a dark complexion that's going to be called Black. That's running around with the main character in that like underground graffiti space.
Well, there is her too, but I'm thinking like the mechanic that is on the run from the military, Zaku. I'm like, I could see that too, being Char's kid. But if they end up going like, I swear, if they go the Ray route, I'm gonna hate life. Please do not do that. No, please do not.
Yeah, so there's gonna be, I promise you right now, if Char has been like eliminated from life, it's either because he had to fake his death in order to get the zombies out of his government, or he almost died and became Darth Vader. That's the only two ways that this goes.
Zaku, based on that Zaku, or not Zaku, based on that Gundam, I think it's the Darth Vader route.
I hope it has like breathing noises and it sounds all demony, you know?
I really, really, really hope that's not it, because just the idea of bringing Char back at all and getting rid of that mystery is like, we don't need to do that. it's the
How
sort of
many more
when-
times are we going to settle this Amuro versus Char shit? How
Right.
many times? Oh, you wait.
Well,
She'll be the daughter of Amuro that they cloned and hid inside
Oh
of
my
side
God,
3
you're-
in order to protect the prophetic new type. And
Or-
she Amuro. Shamuro.
or like she's Amuro's kid and Char's kid is also there, but Char's kid had complications when it was born, so they needed a blood transplant or something, and they got it from Amuro's kid because war. And now Char's kid has new type abilities genetically. Like,
Yep.
at this point, Char just feels like Poochie.
He is.
Like, if Char's not on screen, all the other Gundam characters should be asking, "Where's Char?"
Exactly. And that's this has been my problem with the UC entirely, is that they can't tell a UC story without a Char analog. I know it's a trope, I know it's a fun thing, but they can't tell a UC story without just blatantly making it a Char clone. There's nobody else that can put a damn mask on and raise hell at high speed. Nobody else. It's so annoying.
Like even I was okay with it. I was okay with it in whoa. Oh, whoops. I hit play on our I had our stream up in another window and I hit play on my headphones, and so I was getting weird audio from you guys, but it wasn't you.
You're
it was
welcome.
past you. Like I liked the idea, maybe not liked it, but I got the use of full frontal in Unicorn, even though I was like little on the nose, but okay. But it's like ever since then, everything has to have a Char analog, everything has to revolve around Char. I'm done with it. Let's move on. What about like oh my god, what is his name from Gundam Wing? He was a great villain.
Zex.
Yeah. And
Yep.
Zex was your Char analog, and you didn't need the mask or anything.
Well, and then you had
I guess technically he had a red suit, but
well, he was meant to be a Char clone in the sense that he was based out of Char, but he wasn't directly a genetic copy like they keep doing in the UC. There was also Schwarzbruder. There's also Schwarzbruder, and I really appreciated the German ninja. That was a very fun angle that they never really revisited. Was just unexpected ninja. And again, if we're going back to G Gundam, let's go.
Let's go. Like, let's get
All
those
right, it's the
stereotypes
Devil
going.
Gundam, Spencer. Of course it's going to be a zombie. It's the Devil Gundam.
That's as soon as you brought up the idea
He's
of
alive
Char
because
being kept alive like by two
the
stuff, I was
Psychomu
just like
system.
Devil Gundam.
The Psychomu system is supporting Char's psyche. It's like a brainwave support system. That was the accident. Extending himself into the funnels created a multiple personality disorder like what we saw in the clones in Witch from Mercury. And
Witch from
that's
Mercury.
why he had to fake his death and run into space, because he had a case of space schizophrenia.
Oh man. Like,
Dude, I can
Yes,
just see that. I can see
because-
it because Ano is part of this, man. Like all the like, because we were talking about fantasy surrealism with Drama Queen. It's like all the fantasy surrealism that you could think of happening in Gundam. Like I could just picture this happening here, just because Hideki Ano in the Evangelion team is just here.
Yeah, and again, like, you're also dealing with corporate, and corporate wants to be very safe right now because anime's not having a good time. And so they've got to go out there and they've got to present something. And also, Witch from Mercury, while it sold well, that last episode there really got him into a lot of trouble. And it feels almost like they're trying to undo that with this one, particularly with just how, again, you got those wide hips on that machine. And you got a female pilot again. So they're trying to, I think they're trying to like marry in, like, this is what Witch of Mercury would have been if it wasn't gay. And that's, you know,
And if it
and
was
I'm not
an
saying
issue-
the gay is the only problem. I'm not saying the gay is clearly
no.
High School
we know what
Gundam
you're
was
saying,
not
yeah.
working. Yeah.
yeah, and it was
So-
boring amongst the fandom.
The designs were really dull too. Aside from the Hero Gundam, everything kind of felt a little like,
I
what
liked
if
the
we
pink
put
beetle
knights
one.
in it?
But that was about it.
Yeah.
The like other guys, the one guys, like his pink beetle one was cool, and then everything was boring.
Which
But
again,
yeah, like the setting was boring too. Like you said earlier,
Right.
Cider, the high school stuff, like they leaned way too hard into what could have been
Gundam
interesting.
Academy.
Right. And it just became slice of life. And I was like,
Yep.
this isn't what I'm in. It's not what I go to Gundam for at all.
Well, and the mistake that they made out of this one too, I could tell already, is that they have gone and taken the same situation that Witch from Mercury was suffering from, which was the tournament style issue. G Gundam works because it is an out and out competition to be the best, right? So your
Yeah.
clan thing is going to immediately run into a problem. Char, you can't be the best when there's a king. You can't usurp. The whole reason the Gundam fight was happening was they could have power over the other states. That was the whole reason it was happening.
Unless the whole thing is Char's brain is orchestrating it, and he's, like those tournaments where it's like, I'm seeking the best person so I can take over their body or recruit them to my side.
Yep.
Or kind of like a shaman,
dumb like that.
Or it could be kind of like a shaman king kind of situation where
that
like
too.
Hao is the one controlling everything, and you have the different teams representing them. Kind of like a shaman king kind of situation. I could see this being.
A bit of that too, but this is Witch from Mercury again because they were competing against each other for whatever reason, marriage or rights or rank, whatever it was. And then they've again taken that up to another level. It feels like they took a look at Witch from Mercury and they're like, "What if we cranked it up to 11?" And it feels like that's what they tried to do here. Is they took a look at all the mechanics of Witch from Mercury that they felt weak on, and they said, "Let's do it again, but with more oomph."
Which, like,
With
hey,
more
if that's what you're gonna do, I would laugh at first, but then I'd be like, hey, okay, it'd be a rare admission of like we didn't get it right the first time, which you don't ever see from anybody these days. Even Japan's better about it. They'll be like, yeah, we missed the mark on that, but they won't always revisit it. So that would be sort of not a first. I'm sure it's been done before, but it would be interesting.
Well, a little earlier to transition us into the next conversation, I played this as part of our intros. We're not going to do the whole intro thing over. Jacob's sick tonight. And
Jacob is sick tonight. It's just us. You
Right.
can consider this an extended Tokyo happy hour if you want to. But yeah. I'm with you, Cider.
So here we go. I'm just going to pop this in and we'll be on the other side.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
Sit around thinking the same shit. I can't breathe. I gotta stop looking at it.
And there you go. Only 6 months in, and it looks like Rainbow Six. Oh wait, no, Call of Duty. What is Warfare? No, it's XDefiant.
Do you guys know what this game is? I'm
It
betting
isn't.
you probably didn't, because nobody knew what this game was. So yes, we are here on the other side. Welcome to 01 proper with me, Nerdigans and Cider. Obviously, most of you guys were probably here for the past few minutes, so you know that we were hanging out doing Tokyo Happy Hour. You probably caught Jacob is sick tonight. If you saw him on his show last night, he sounded awful, so he's obviously resting. We hope he gets better. But yes, let's move from some anime to some awful other industry Western news. And yeah, Cider, good start with this news that Ubisoft's latest free-to-play multiplayer shooter, XDefiant, has been shut the heck down after barely 6 months of uptime. So for those of you guys who don't know what this game is, this game, oh boy. So does anybody here, and I know you two do, but for our listeners, our viewers, who out here knows what a zoomer shooter is? If you play video games, you probably do, or you at least know of the zoomer play style, which is if any of us were to pick up a controller and start playing, let's say, Call of Duty, we would, move forward, look around a wall, switch our gun once, maybe make sure we're reloaded, pull up, aim. Oh, nobody's there. Move on, play the game. Zoomers, and particularly streamer zoomers, they play video games in this way where, like, you're sliding all the time. You're constantly flipping your weapons. It's all about no scoping. It's all about just this ridiculous, like game tech is how I would put it, right? Because it's like you do these actions and you get one quicker frame of reload or something, and that's all the change to the.
It's
me.
It's ADD gaming. Just
That's
to
what I
make
was
it
about
easy,
to say.
it's ADD gaming. It's a
I was about
fidget.
to
You
say
got a
that.
fidget spinner knife that you're flipping all the time until you
That's a
yank
good
a guy.
point.
Till you gank a guy with it, and then you got your bang bang, and then flip it around, and oh, Doritos,
Yeah.
Mountain Dew. Yeah, all right,
well-
boys, we'll catch you in the next match, and you don't even know what just happened.
No,
Just a
not
bunch
at all.
of shit just went by, some colors, everybody was screaming, a man had a flamethrower, and now we're off to the next match.
Yeah, but so Cider's description is far more accurate, but that's essentially what these types of games are. You see it a lot in things like Call of Duty. Some Fortnite players do it. Good games go out of their way to balance this, right? They'll go, okay, if you want to play like that, sure, but we're also going to make, we're going to change up the systems, balance it so that people who are not playing like crazy ADHD adult children can have fun. XDefiant did the exact opposite of that. This game started with the intention of being specifically that type of game. They wanted to appeal specifically to the Zoomer or the ADD shooter crowd, to the younger crowd. And so once you do that, you're already like, not only are you aiming for the younger crowd specifically, but for the streaming crowd of the younger crowd, you've already got the smallest possible, or one of the smallest possible demographics that you're aiming for. So this game, this is I haven't had a good place to drop this fun fact. I couldn't even work it into my article, but so this game actually started life as Tom Clancy's XDefiant, and it was all supposed to be all Tom Clancy characters, all Tom Clancy everything. For some reason, we don't know why, but I'm guessing it's Ubisoft realizing, oh, the characters in Tom Clancy games aren't really like marketable. Aside from maybe the Splinter Cell crew, like Sam Fisher and them, and the Splinter Cells, does anybody remember anything from like who the teams are in Far Cry, who the teams are in Rainbow Six Siege? Not really. Unless you're a hardcore dedicated player, you're not going to know who they are. Right. So they changed it over to, instead of just Tom Clancy, it's going to be all Ubisoft stuff. And so they started pulling in things from Far Cry and other terrible Ubisoft games that I forget now because I don't really care that much about Ubisoft. But so that was their market idea, is that we're going to appeal to kids who love the ADD shooting, and we're going to appeal to all those big Ubisoft fans. So if you guys have ever played Overwatch or any sort of shooter like that, you'll know that the way you pick your character is not so much a character anymore, because back in the Call of Duty days, everybody would do the same loadout and it got boring, but more a class, a role. Like you pick Tracer and okay, I'm an attack character. I have these skills to push the attack. I'm not supposed to heal, so on and so forth. In XDefiant, the way they did this was you picked a faction, and the faction was based on some team from a Ubisoft property. But then the characters they would offer you were just generics. It wasn't Sam Fisher. It wasn't, I forget the leader's name from Far Cry 3. It was just like, here's Greg. He's a member of the Splinter Cells. All right. Do I care? If you're
What's
trying
a
to
Splinter Cell?
It was one of the best games ever made. It was one of the best games ever made.
That's like that's the
no, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. That was my own exasperation on the end of damn it, it used to be so good and they ruined it and it's in the trash now. We'll never get another good one.
Destroyed
it. I used to love Splinter Cell back in the day, but they've changed it into Gears of War now. Instead of doing really subtle things like shooting out light bulbs and stuff, you're just taking cover, shooting over, waiting until everybody's dead, and then you move on to the next area. It's typical Ubisoft. But back to XDefiant. So that was their strategy. Everybody loves Ubisoft titles and everybody loves Zoomer shooters. So they developed this game. It had a really, really rough early access beta period in 2022. It was supposed to come out in 2023. And when its date came, just nobody said anything. It didn't come out. Nobody knew why. Ubisoft said, they came out a couple days later and they're like, we need some time to refine it. It's not ready to go yet. Fast forward about 6 months. And in May of this year, they released it free to play. Obviously people can buy microtransactions, battle passes. That's how they want to monetize it, keep it alive. Well, here we are 6.5 weeks or 6 months and 2 weeks after it dropped. And Ubisoft has announced that they are shutting it down, like completely down, to the point where you won't be able to play it. It is Jover. It is more Jover than it's ever been. They weren't even back, boys. They were never back. It was Jover from the start. But yeah, like this is a pretty big deal because they're not just admitting, oh yeah, the game is bad and we get that, but we'll keep it on some life support. This is another Concord type situation where yes, it lasted a little longer, probably because Ubisoft probably did not sink $250,000 or $500,000 or $500 million into its development, but it's sort of the same case. Ubisoft came out with this title, thought it was going to blow everybody away, and it didn't. And now instead of supporting it like they thought they could, they're shutting it down to the point where you'll never be able to access it again. And they're not even completing their DLC plans. Like for all of your failures, Task Force X Kill the Justice League, for all of your failures as a game, I have to give the devs some level of like clap, like a golf clap, for the fact that they're still dropping their DLC plans. They didn't say nobody likes this game, we're cutting it off at season 2. They're taking that walk of shame all the way to the end. And I'm like, all right, at least you guys are standing by your work, even though it's bad. I get it. There's a little bit of respect here, but Ubisoft's just saying, nope, we're done. Pull the plug, refunding people. There was a pack you could buy that gave you a pass to unlock everything for the calendar year. And because they only made it 6 months, Ubisoft now has to refund all of that to everybody. So it's just, it's a disaster. We all probably could have seen this coming. Like, I don't know about you two, but when I first saw this, like a couple years ago, that Zoomer shooter, ADD shooter thing was the first thing that popped out. And I just went, this is not going to be fun. This is not going to, it's like Cider was saying in the very beginning, spawning in and then 40 things happening. And then you just like dematerialize because some kid had the next level shotgun or whatever. It's not fun. It will never be fun, but that's what they thought would work. And here we are, another day, another live service, another multiplayer game shut down, just completely gone.
And XDefiant was another one that was they patrolled behavior a lot. So if you were acting out, there wasn't even a hacking that would end up getting you banned. That could get you banned, but it wasn't that alone. It was your behavior inside of the game. If you were too aggressive, if you were, what is it called? Griefing. If you were griefing other players, if you were camping spaces, like spawn spaces, all this kind of stuff, you'd get sort of like bad behavior points, that sort of stuff.
And like you say all those, Cider, and I'm like, that's all the stuff the key demo wants to do. That's the stuff that they watch on stream, and they're like, yeah, you show them. You what do you call it? Teabag him. You get him, streamer 444 or whatever.
But again, as we saw with Riot Games and how we're gonna talk about that too.
Yeah,
as we saw with that, you know, all of these game companies are absolutely paranoid that somebody somewhere is going to get a clip like PewDiePie's bridge incident.
Oh yeah,
and they are desperate to make sure that does not happen, even if it means banning paying players because they are like bordering on that kind of recklessness. So
this is a slight aside, but it made me laugh because you brought up companies are afraid of having their PewDiePie moment. And I'm like, yeah, that's very true. But then I laugh because I'm like, what else might they be afraid of having like repeated? Do you remember, like, I want to say it was like 2016, 2017. There was that article that came out that was like, terrorist groups are using video games to recruit your kids.
Yeah.
And it was all about like online play and stuff. And their one example was like, players can go into a Call of Duty map, shoot with their bullet holes, like instructions for the next attack. And then once they quit the game, it's all gone. And I'm just like, that is not a thing that happens. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Way in hell any other opposing team is going to sit there and wait for you to blast 2 paragraphs worth of information out. Not happening.
And we've all played video games, especially multiplayer ones. They don't have the resources to let that small detail sit forever. You make a bullet hole, it's probably gone the second you turn your head. Like, it's not a permanent fixture. What were you saying, Nerdigan? Sorry, I cut you off.
It's all good. No, like the thing that I just still think is hilarious is like we all remember like back in 2008, 2009 on Xbox Live, all those kids like 10, 11, 12-year-olds just cussing out everybody in the
hasn't really changed.
And the Xbox
it really hasn't.
And it hasn't. And like you see these people like virtue signal, like saying, oh, we need to police bad behavior. It's like, whoa, where was this like over 10 years ago when this was happening? Now you care?
Yeah. Well, what you're seeing, Nerdigans, is it's this thing I am always very, very sad about. It's sort of we're at this moment, all of us, like you, me, Cider, our viewers, all of us who've lived on the internet for, before 2008.
The better part of our lives.
Yeah, for the better part of our lives. We're like the cowboys in the Wild West watching like when the cell phone was invented, that, or like the smartphone was easily accessible by a lot more people. That was essentially the railroads being built through the Wild West. That was the start of our way of life, our culture coming to an end, because now you have these out of town big city folk coming through to the Wild West where we have our lives, our cultures, and they don't understand it. And they don't want to try and understand it. They see, oh my gosh, these guys are drinking at noon and punching each other out. And it's like, well, that's how we settle business here in the now. They don't care to learn it or understand it or try to work with you to make it better. They just come in and say, I don't like this. You need to change it. And because they have the money, quote unquote, all the companies bend the knees to them. So like, we're the cowboys, and we understand that if you're on Xbox Live and you hear all of that awful stuff, we all laughed it off. We all understood that if it really was bad and we thought like, oh, this guy has problems, that was our reaction. Like, oh, that guy's probably crazy. He's got problems. I'm going to block him. I'm going to mute him. That's how we handled it back.
The mute function was there from the beginning. From
the start. And now these new gamers, these new internet users come in and they go, oh my word, they used a slur at each other. And it's like, those were two black guys. What are you freaking out about? And it's like, no, you can't do it at all. And so slowly our way of life is eroding. And unfortunately, like with the Cowboys, there's nothing we can do against it. It's just, I mean, we can always criticize and we can always push back, and we should, but it's daunting, to say the least. Not impossible, but daunting.
I mean, we're seeing it in the manga community. I mean, you saw it in the comment section for Drama Queen that these tourists are coming in and trying to like say, oh, this is offensive. This mangaka can't write about immigrants and aliens getting eaten like this. And no. And you saw the rest of the hardcore manga fans. It's like, no, screw off. They can write whatever they want.
Well, like to your tourist point, you see that all the time, right, Nerdigans? Those people are freaking out about the new Shonen Jump manga. But if they went to any other magazine that wasn't the most popular one in the West, they would find something that would probably blow their minds even more. But they only gravitate to the popular thing because it's popular. You go and you ask them, what's your favorite anime? It's probably going to be something from the last 5 years, right? They don't know things like Akira Toriyama's. They don't know Dr. Slump. Right. They don't know Romance Dawn was the precursor to One Piece. They don't know any of this stuff. They just know what the influencers are telling them.
Right. That's if they do. I was going to say, if they do know about it, they know it through a lens. But
yes.
Speaking of knowing about things, we do have a $5 super chat from Pinochet's Helicopter Tours,
Tony!
member of the channel. And it says, anyone remember a Kotaku Jason Schreier article regarding Far Cry and Trump demanding Ubisoft do exactly what they have done? It may have been on BIC. The Far Cry one that was meant to be like analogous to Trump's presidency there, where there were these hyper patriots that were just abusing people and the dictator was in on it and all that stuff. It was like it was the last Far Cry 7?
Or 5 or whatever. Or I don't know what number they're on, but yeah, it's the latest
like
one.
6? Okay, yeah.
Whatever they're on these days.
It was the big Last Supper with all the guns and the American flag was in the center of it. And it was just like, we hate the Tea Party. It was all of that. So, and that of course went, very well.
So I don't remember the specific article, but Tony, the fact that it's Jason Schreier and it's his Kotaku era, literally, you think he's bad now? He was worse when he was on Kotaku. Like, I feel like Bloomberg has at least one person who's like, you need to at least feign professionalism, even if you don't really believe it.
Paul Tassi there.
Yeah, exactly. But but at Kotaku, remember at Kotaku, that was when Jason Schreier wrote the post about Dragon's Crown, saying if you guys don't remember Dragon's Crown, it's this very beautifully hand-drawn, animated 2D side scroller that one of the characters is a giant, like 8 foot tall, very buff, very buxom, half nude Amazon. Like she's wearing like Remember the Amazons in Futurama? Like she's literally just wearing that, like just a loincloth and a very
the sorceress
like a
is
cloth.
also quite eccentric in Dragon's Crown as well.
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, the sorceress, she's more your typical like anime, like
she's
Bazumas
disguised
out there.
Yeah, she has pumpkins and also like the crazy. I think she set the tone for like thick women in like video games for a while.
I think that was probably like before it became safe horny. That was probably like the very first instance of it. But if you guys remember, he saw that stuff. He saw the sorceress. He saw the Amazon, and he was like, anybody who draws this is clearly immature and doesn't know anything about women, and we need to do better by our culture, and like just got on his high horse. And the best part about that story is not only did everybody pour out and say shut up back in the day, of course this was like 2009, so it was way before we got to this point, so lots of people came out to say shut up, but the artist of the game, he drew a piece, an original piece. It was, so the game has a dwarf character who is your big buff, Gimli type guy. And he drew a piece that's 6 of those dwarves, all like nude, all sort of like stacked on each other. And he was like, I'm sorry to hear Jason Schreier didn't like my drawings for Dragon's Crown. Maybe this is more up to his speed. Yep. And I'm just like, holy, like
that was so
incredible. I love that post so much.
Well, speaking of base, we do have a $5 super chat from Pinochet's Helicopter Tours, member of the channel. Since journalists and by association, their Soros benefactors and donors demanded game companies get political. They were giving cover to devs to get political. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
That it continues to happen today.
I mean, that's how Gamergate got started, remember?
And Gamergate too.
And Gamergate too. Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to bring up Riot Games with they're going to chase you now, wherever you are, if you're a content creator, and maybe if you're not, they're going to make sure that you pay for saying naughty things with Riot Games on the screen.
Yeah. So this is a particularly crazy story, guys. I don't know if you have seen or heard anything about it yet, but the basic rundown is earlier this week, I believe Monday, Riot Games, who, the team behind League of Legends, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, all that fun stuff, they updated their terms of service with some new clauses. Most of them are sort of standard customer protection against fraud, whatever. But the main one, the worrying one, is that if you agree to their terms of service from now on, you give them the right to give you in-game penalties on your Riot account. So they can either penalize your account or penalize you in-game, whichever, if you do anything they don't like on a different platform while using, or not even while using their IP, just if their IP is around in what you're doing, right? So for example, if we were hosting this stream right now and I decided to, I got to run to the bathroom, Cider and Nerdigans hold it down. And I went away and my icon was Jinx, right? From League of Legends. And Cider and Nerdigans started saying, yeah, we don't like this, super progressive push out of Hollywood. This is really stupid. And anybody who, does this kind of push, we should be better than giving them our money. Well, Riot can go, whoa, I didn't like that. And you know what? Because there was a Jinx icon on the screen, you're associated with us. So you know what, Cider? I'm restricting access to you can't play League of Legends for a week. And Cider doesn't. That was just the example. He's better than that. Right. He's an actual human being. But but that is essentially what they can do. It's not just they can now restrict access if you criticize something, if you say an opinion they don't like, just so long as their IP is anywhere. So for example, you're probably gonna people like if they don't like Arcane and they maybe criticize, look at how they changed the designs in Arcane from the overcomplicated ones that were sexier in League of Legends to these more not unsexy but more standard looks. Like if somebody says that and they're like, I don't like that, this is a dumb decision, censorship is dumb, they can go, well, you don't get to play Legends of Runeterra for a month. How about that? And yes, they say that mostly this is going to, they don't buy their excuse that this is only going to be used in certain situations, right? Because they say, oh, it's only going to be used for the extremes where somebody is being racist or bigoted on their stream while playing League of Legends. And it's like, nobody believes. Exactly, Nerdigans. Nobody believes that. We are
Guys,
all living in the
we're
post-Patriot Act
gonna-
world.
We're only going to take the guns away from the criminals. All right. We're
Right.
not going to take it away from good guys. Just the criminals.
We're just going to monitor the emails of the potential terrorists, not you guys.
Right.
You're fine.
If
Don't
you
worry
have
about it.
nothing to hide, you have nothing
Bingo.
to fear.
Yes, and
Yep.
so it's really bad, guys, because again, it's not even if I'm criticizing them or criticizing one of their games, they just have to, one of their things has to be around. If we have a lot of people in our sphere who in their backdrops, they have action figures and posters. So if one of them happens to have a Jinx poster and says a joke about whatever, there you go. Can't play for a month, can't play for a week. It is very, very, very big brothery. It's very, very worrying. Another point to bring up in this discussion about Riot Games specifically, and again, it was one of those things that just didn't fit anywhere in the flow of the article. It would have thrown you guys all off if I included it. But last year, they entered into a partnership with, I believe, either Electronic Arts or Ubisoft to train an AI on how to better essentially police online play for things like, what are you looking for in reports? What are people reporting the most? So I don't know. They haven't said anything about whether that's in play or not, because a year ago it was just, we're researching and developing. So I don't know if that's in play here. I am going to assume it is, because it's in play everywhere nowadays. Just on that fact.
Well, consider this though.
Yeah.
They are working off a report system, is what they said. They cannot know everything happening everywhere. So consider for a minute that all of the witch hunters, all of the hall monitors they've created now out of all of this, that they are feeding the AI to help better inform it on behaviors the corporation does not want to associate. So the AI is not completed yet. It needs like actual examples of video and audio in order to hem down on what behaviors it doesn't like. And then they'll unleash that. Now, that AI will not be wandering around the internet, right? It won't be wandering around, but it will be listening to the in-game voice chats. More importantly.
Your in-game voice chats, your messages, any sort of thing. If I guarantee there's going to be some level of, if you link your accounts, so you link your Twitch account to your Riot Games account so that you can get an exclusive skin. I'm sure that there's going to be some level of feedback there where it's like, okay, well, now we have open permission to look at your stream too. I mean, that's what this already is saying.
That's what the Google Stadia was about. The Google Stadia wanted to know everything you were doing with that property. If you were sitting there scratching your balls, you needed to tell them that. And this is the situation where we're at right now, is that what scares me the most about this is that they're going to make this look like it's a good idea. And because League of Legends is what it is, there are people who take it way too fucking seriously, right? And so you're gonna get people seeing the immediate downturn on bad behavior in League of Legends as like hundreds of thousands of players just get iced, because they've got till January to behave better. And
Dude,
so
after what we've seen this week, they're gonna lose like 90% of their base when they cut off Korea.
Yeah, right. Korea, all at once, League of Legends will go dark like North Korea and South Korea. Yeah. It's the night when the lights went out in Seoul.
No, that's what I was thinking of. When you see all the aerial like space maps of night, like light activity, and all of the world is like lit up, even like parts of Africa, but then right above South Korea, there's like 2 lights. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the 2 League of Legends players that didn't piss off Riot Games. But that's where we're at, is that like you can't. One thing you need to understand about all of this is that corporations are hungry right now to keep their brands clean. What they are forced to do because of ad blockers is get in the muck with their consumers, and they hate that. They absolutely hate us. You have to remember that. Most corporations just have look at Ubisoft. They have a blistering hatred of the people that pay them money. So the situation that we're in is that Riot's going to make this look like it's a good idea. Other platforms are going to adopt it, and all at once, you are going to see like this swath of players removed from AAA gaming, removed from multiplayer gaming, removed from prestige gaming. They will be rendered to Among Us and whatever weird butt slap game is on Steam right now.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to end up having your champion players like Dr. Disrespect. He won't survive in this atmosphere. He'll be gone. As corporate as he is still, he's still going to get iced because he gets aggressive and he gets mad and he says shit, even when he's not playing the game. And they'll hit him. Don't worry, they'll hit him. And this whole situation is going to fold over into those guys. And the streamers getting hit is going to piss off the people that are in the chat. Whether they did it themselves, they're going to take it out on the corporation that did it to their favorite streamer. You think Kai Cenat, with all the crazy people in the background with him, flamethrowing in his bedroom, you think that's going to survive long under these rules? No, not at all. And you think that guy's going to calm down? No. He just made himself into a VTuber for fun. So, you know.
I saw that.
And he didn't even know what the hell to do either. He was like, I got isekai. He literally was acting like he got isekai. It was
I saw it's really funny if you guys ever catch clips of it, because he like he turns on the avatar and he really is just sort of like,
oh my God,
like he went into a different world. Yeah, he's like, what
he's like looking at himself, like he's pretending like he's literally got isekai into Iron Mouse's bedroom.
It's great.
It's really crazy what happened.
But no, you're completely right that this is all about, you know, the corporations. They want their brand squeaky clean. Yep. And that is how this is going to get sold, Cider, because this is how all of these always get sold. It's so easy to say, you, average person, don't you hate when you get, you know, bullied on a video game? Don't you hate that other people will feel bad? And as most humans have basic empathy, they'll go, yeah, I don't necessarily want anybody intentionally to feel bad. So then Riot goes, well, here's a great system we're going to introduce. It's going to solve it. For most people, they're not going to understand the intricacies of what's going on. They're going to hear automated AI to help cut down on toxicity or whatever buzzword they want to use. And their mind is going to go, click, good job. That is more of what we want to see. And that's especially what's going to happen on the corporate, like boardroom levels. They'll hear that very generic, we can help clean you up. And they'll go, sounds great. But to what Cider was saying, the really, really worrying part that I didn't even consider, because so I said a second ago, it might be in play. Cider said, no, it's not, because they're still training it. And that's the most important part. Cider said in his example that, you know, an AI doesn't understand everything. It's not going to understand context. Yes, it can find words and maybe combinations of words and go, okay, this is something to flag. But things like if we come up with a new slang term or if we start using a word in a different fashion, it's not going to know what to do. And that's where you bring in the human auditors. Now, the human auditors will go, oh, yes, this is something to flag. Flag this combination, flag that word, flag whatever. The problem is, guys, think of where we are right now in society, where things like if I go, hey, Cider, you're stupid. Somebody might go, holy crap, he's so bigoted against, you know, people with learning deficiencies. Or, you know, if we're playing a game online and I go, damn it, Nerdigans, that was a retarded move. You're a retard. They'll go, whoa, excuse me, can't say that. So all of these tiny little things that most people would go, let it go. Okay, we get it. It was a joke, or maybe it was in bad taste, but we know that it wasn't, you know, trying to get at me. Now the auditors are going to go, nope, you've got to flag that. So everybody will start getting flagged for the tiniest thing. Again, I
got him.
No, I did get got. I did get got for like 3 seconds.
Tyke, the stream's not gone. It was just meant to emphasize Spencer's point that you can get nailed at any time for the most harmless things.
I'm like that.
Yep.
Well, what I was going to say is, you got to remember what this is a response to. It's a response to a streamer who lied about getting bullied while playing.
From Riot? I don't know that end of it. What's that part of the story?
So basically what happened, this girl was playing Valiant, and she Valorant, excuse me. She's playing Valorant, and she was egging this guy on, and yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the incident from like a month ago?
Yep.
It was a while ago. It was more than a month ago.
It was no, I know what you're talking about, but keep going. This is good content.
But yeah,
keep
so
telling him.
basically she was egging him on, and he, to the point where, you know, he went off on her, and she posted the clip of only the guy going off on her, and said, and then I think she wrote the tweet that, like, oh god, what was it? That this is disgusting. This guy went off on me, or something like that. And the Riot Games CEO, because after the tweet went viral, obviously, and then you had all these women saying like, "Oh, this shit happens all the time to me in games. This is unacceptable." Blah blah blah. And then the Riot Games CEO said they're going to do something about it.
Here we are.
And here we are.
Hey, I do remember that now. I do. Wasn't that right before what's it called? TwitchCon?
Yes. That was
then they went on stage, didn't they? And they were like, "We're doing a bunch of blah blah blah." Because I remember that's what that VTuber Phantom that Ryan interviewed. She was like angry about that presentation because she's like, "I just got banned for the dumbest things yesterday, and you say you're going to be better about this? I don't believe you." And it was just I didn't even put that together, Nerdigans.
Yeah, like, it's mostly women that are saying this too. They're trying to use their gender card. And it's so stupid because it's like, dude, you are being dumb. You're insulting like the majority of women who do play games because they've been in this sphere for a very long time, and they're fine with it. You are the one. You need just to get out of the salty spittoon and go back to Weenie Hut Juniors where you belong.
No, I 1000% agree with you. And it is true. It does tend to be more women who do this, or, you know, if it is a man, it's a very high soy diet man. Like, you all know the people who are running to Twitter and saying, "Oh no, please, you know, shut this guy up. He was being mean to me." Maybe 1% of the time there's somebody actually being like genuinely terrifying, like they doxed him or something. But most of the times, yeah, it's just, this guy was mean to me in a match. As Cider and I said in the beginning, mute buttons, guys. I don't know why it's so hard for people these days to take responsibility for their own circumstances. I mean, that's a whole societal issue, but you can see it right here. They're going, no, I can't be responsible. I don't want, you know, if something comes in and it's my fault, then that means I'm a bad person. So no, it has to be on you to do it. And it's just like, this is tiring. I'm tired of all of you.
And well, as I said, this person was the one that provoked the guy,
right?
And at the gotcha, and it was on a live stream too. So like the people that busted her and her QRTs are like, "Dude, you are lying," and her replies too, like, "Dude, you are lying. We watched you live as you did this, and we clipped you and they posted the clip in the comment section." And she got, I think she got community noted, if I remember correctly.
Good. It reminds me of the whole situation we had. God, it's got to be years at this point. But remember, Zombie Kills or whatever. That black lady streamer who was like, "Give me a PS5 to fight race inequality," blah, and she like went off, and then she's like, "Everybody's being racist to me. Everybody's bullying me," and then everybody came out with clips, and it's like, here's your last week of streams where you just talk noise on everybody, from white people to black people to women to men. Like, you're just a hateful person. Go away. And then she tried to play the victim, and you know, we've seen the song and dance before, but that's what it reminded me of.
We saw it in the My Hero Academia community with the shippers, that they're like attacking Horikoshi and then they're playing victim when they get called out on their shit. And it's actually kind of hilarious.
Well, we do have a question from Timon, the Meteor Herald, channel. He asks us, wait, there's a butt slapping game?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Well, one of many, perhaps, but this is the one I know about. It's called Spanky.
Yeah, I know about
it. It is as butt-tastic as you could imagine.
Can you look away? Keep your virgin eyes away.
And that's it.
Okay, that actually seems pretty entertaining for like
that
an
is
hour.
It. You just run around and butt slap your friends, and they have ginormous clapping butt cheeks like that Solid Snake meme.
Oh yeah, everybody is Solid Snake right there.
I can't sneak around. My gnarly cakes are clapping too hard. The guards can hear me.
I can't sneak.
Yeah, it's kind of like Fortnite, but if you're a butt fetishist. So there you go. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'd play it for like an hour and I would probably have fun. But past that, if you consider yourself like a player of that game, we need to talk. Or not you and me, but like
You
and
check
the
that out
authority.
and like your Steam, like, you get a notification that one of your friends got like the platinum trophy in it on Steam. It's like, hey, you want to go get a beer? You just message him like, we're gonna go get a beer. All right, you need some air.
I haven't seen you for a while. Let's go.
You need some air. You need some air, and that's that segues into nah, not really. Anyway, so
but here we are.
Ubisoft has a bunch of people that are making a video game for the first time, working on the most culturally sensitive iteration of Assassin's Creed ever. It's amazing.
I saw that and I was like, damn, that really does explain a lot.
Well, this was one of the ones I got from you, wasn't it, Nerd Again?
Yeah,
where, like, you shared it, and I was like, I need to know where this is. This is insane. And you were like, I got you.
I actually found it on Insider Gaming, and then Insider Gaming had the YouTube video like right at the spot, and I had to watch it just to see if this was true. And it was. I was like, oh my God, I have to share the screenshots just so people can see how insane this is.
Just genuinely baffling. So for those who don't know him, there is a individual working at Ubisoft named Mark Cotes Alexander, or is it he's got like 3 names and I never know which. Mark Alexis Cote, that's his name. You know the French, they just like to throw words together. So Mark Alexis Cote is an executive over at Ubisoft, and he is the franchise director, franchise lead for the Assassin's Creed games. He's been there since, I believe, Syndicate, which was like the third or the fourth one. But there was a recent sort of creative technology expo held in Europe. And by creative technology, I mean, it was an expo for people who work in creative fields to come and talk about how, they're adapting to new technologies, not like AI, but just everything, just a general expo for people to come and get a lay of the next year of their industry or whatever. So during this event, Cote is asked to do the keynote presentation. So that's the big headlining talk where he'll be on stage, he'll talk to all these people, and he'll have a Q&A session. So he goes on stage, he gives his general talk, and for the most part, it is very much your standard corporate, like, this is how you motivate people, this is how we look at, planning and just sort of really, really standard stuff, nothing that you could really write home about. However, at a certain point, or once we got to the Q&A session, that's where we got this insane revelation. So Cote is asked at one point if he could talk by a member of the crowd, if he could talk to the strategies or the techniques he's using in his own team to foster growth and teamwork and make everybody communicate, make sure everything. Huh?
Kumbaya.
Yeah. How does he make everybody kumbaya? How does he get everybody along? How do you do that, Cote? So basically, Cote starts talking about, basically he starts off by saying the main way he gets his team cohesion is by working with them and sort of, reflecting on his own career points. So one of the things he says is like, as a manager, as an executive, you have to be the one to talk to your team and say, like, I've been here. I know these situations can get hard, but we can also make it through to the other end. And from that, so that doesn't necessarily sound bad, right? Like that sounds very much like a good leader, right? Like, drawing on your own experiences, trying to keep your team level-headed and say, don't freak out. We can get this done. So from that point, Cote says, yeah, the way it's really like being expressed now, the way I do it now is it happens more often because half of the developers working on Assassin's Creed games have never built a game before. Like straight up,
wait,
that is...
Pause.
Go ahead. Yes.
Assassin's Creed games, not just Shadows.
Not just Shadows. And remember, this guy's been on the series since like entry 4. And we're at, I think Shadows is like 11 or something. So he's been, if you want to look
the
at
guy.
He's the guy. If you want to look at the decline of the series, he's going to be your number one suspect. So yeah, that's basically what he says is half of the people who work on Assassin's Creed games have never built a video game before. So they don't know what video game development is supposed to look like. They think that all of their work is automatically bad. And Kote is just like, yeah, the main thing is just to guide them and lead them through it. And his advice is so bad. His like main takeaway statement is a game is shit until it's good. And it's like, that's, and he uses an example of all of these new developers. They're coming up to him and saying, here's what we've got so far. This sucks. Like, this is really, really bad. And he's trying to go, you're only seeing the skeleton right now. And if you only look at one part, of course, it's going to look bad. It's not going to look like a video game because it's not a full thing. So keep calm and we will get there. The problem is that is such a passive way of looking at things. Like, a game is shit until it's not. Well, that sort of implies that at some point, magically, everything comes together and your game is great. But that's not what happens. Yes, in the example I just gave, at a certain point in development, all of the art assets and programming and all of that stuff will come together and you'll see the fully realized build and go, oh yes, that's a good game. But you should be able, as developers, theoretically, if you had experience, to recognize something you're doing isn't working. Right. Oh, this is a bad narrative decision. This is not going to be a fun gameplay thing. Oh, this amount of microtransactions is going to piss off players. But instead of any of that, at least this is what he's implying, is that like at Firewalk Studios with Concord, there's just toxic positivity over at Ubisoft saying, oh, don't worry, this looks bad now, but it'll be fine eventually. Like, once we get there, it'll be fine. No, he makes no mention of changing strategies, of, correcting people's work. It's just, don't worry, champ, we'll get there. And it's such an insane sentiment because yes, there is an advantage to, or there is a benefit to throwing people into the deep end, right? You throw them in there, you let them try and swim. If they can't, you help them out. If they can, you guide them, so on and so forth. It's a valid strategy. But to take, like Cider was saying, a bunch of new devs and throw them onto your like flagship franchise, and B, onto the game that requires probably the most cultural study, I guess is probably the best way to do it. Like, you got to learn, what it was like back then and how people talked. And it's very different because Asia, or like East Asia, is so divided from even the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And they just threw a bunch of amateurs at him and said, go for it. This is not the sign of a healthy company. This is not the sign of a company who knows what it's doing. This is the sign of a company who is flailing, as we know.
I focused on a different part of that statement.
What'd you hit?
What he mentioned was that seniority in AAA gaming has disappeared since the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Sakuramida, hearing that, brought up this in the comments section and said that maybe this is happening with Ghost of Yotei as well. So. Well, I had to ask myself, what if this whole thing isn't so much these guys just dying off like dinosaurs or something? What if this is more on the line of like, I don't want to attach my name to this project that has either this trajectory or this narrative to it that I don't want to explain later on. A lot of these guys got into making games when characters didn't really have a face, or if they did, it didn't move a lot. So it didn't matter really what they looked like. It just mattered more what they were doing and if it looked cool. And so getting them into this space where like, yeah, we gotta have this black samurai now in our Japanese Assassin's Creed that people have been wanting since the very first Assassin's Creed way back in 2007. We've got to make sure that we completely blue ball them and not give them a Japanese samurai, but we're going to give them a woman one to teach them a lesson because those chuds, And you imagine just being,
own the chuds.
You're just a programmer that jumped on at Assassin's Creed 1 and you were really cool. And you were like, you know what? You're right. The crossbow is kind of crazy. You're right. It's a little overboard. We'll wait to the next iteration to throw a crossbow in. That's fair. But now they're like, by the way, history sucks. The Animus doesn't make any sense. You just random assholes jump into other random assholes. Legacy doesn't matter. Here we go. By the way, Asia is just one giant amorphous melted thing in the furnace. And so there we have it. That's truthfully what we're kind of like looking at, is that these guys have left because they're embarrassed. I guarantee you, if they haven't completely abandoned making games, they're down in like the Among Us spanky section of indie making games, because that's where they can just do what they want. Nobody's like, oh, that character's too purple. What message are you trying to send with that purpleness? You know?
No, and so I can actually confirm that while not specific to the embarrassment of the message, which like I am 100% positive has happened and is in play here. I just don't have a specific example of it. But to what you're saying, Cider, we have seen multiple Japanese devs who were heads of studios who, you know, created giant franchises, and they've left their positions over the last 5-10 years. And they've always cited, I just don't like what the industry is doing now. I can't be creative. I can't do what I want to do. There's no exploring anything. It's just like Suda51 said, it's just about pumping out whatever game will get me a high Metacritic score. You saw that with the Senran Kagura creator, who after who was it? Marvelous started censoring all those games. He said, I'm out. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm making my own stuff. That's what the guy who, one of the main combat designers for the Devil May Cry series, he recently left like a couple years ago because he was like, Capcom's not letting me do anything fun. I don't get to do this anymore. So you're right, Cider. A lot of what we see, this lack or this drain in seniority, is our developers with this knowledge going, this just, I don't want to be here. This company is bad. This direction is bad. So they go off and they start their indie titles. And that's why the indie scene right now is blowing up. AA titles. There are a million that are so much better than any Ubi slop that we've gotten this year, anything out of EA. Most probably, you know, I could probably go down the board with everybody but Nintendo. And so, yes, you are completely correct. And especially if we go more Western to America, or, you know, Europe too, probably considering France, Ubisoft, that the message part, that's probably there even more. Like, I don't want to either, like, I'm a programmer who joined with this game and now they're doing things that go against what I believe, whether that's religious or whatever, or like, yeah, Cider said, just, this is embarrassing. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I can't, I don't have it in me, guys. Like, I can't fake it. I gotta go. So that's a really interesting point that I didn't even think of, but I think you both are right. Like, that seniority drain is because of the change in the industry, and nobody's around anymore. That, and as we've seen, sort of to that point, the companies themselves suck. And once a game does bad, they fire everybody. So they're not trying to retain anybody. They're not trying to hold on and say, you know, okay, you screwed up this game, but let's learn lessons and take that and apply it to the next one. They're just going, screw you, get out of here. All right, bring in the next team. I need you guys to make a, I don't know, like a Resident Evil or a Street Fighter. And they go, okay, we've never done that before. That's fine. That's fine. Can you just make it? And they go, okay. But instead of like a nice home cooked burger when it comes out, you get the like 2-day-old McDonald's, and the company still goes, that's great. That's what we want to sell. And then when it sells bad, like we all saw was going to happen, they fire them all over and they start the cycle all over again.
Well, and that's kind of the other part of that statement. Again, like, he said a lot in that one little blip. The other part of that is that, now, Spencer, I don't take you to be a game programmer, game dev, or anything like that. But I guarantee you've fiddled around with RPG Maker at least once or twice.
Of course.
So,
anybody in our generation, if like in our very small like Venn diagram sphere on this panel, everybody should have.
and so this is what we are kind of looking at, is that these guys, he says for the first time, now I understand what he's talking about, AAA, sure, but they don't have confidence. And I'm not asking them to be machismo. But what he's saying is that these guys are running into very basic issues, and he has to keep them from putting like an extension cord noose around their neck and hanging themselves from the drop ceiling. So the situation you're facing is that these kids have come out of college having not made a game. They've maybe made parts, they've maybe learned how a game is made, meaning the codes and the sculpting and inputs and whatnot, skeletons, but they have not made a game. And that is what are they doing instead? What they're doing is they're learning propaganda. And that's why the games coming out that we have now, like Dragon's Age, you find the devs are proud that people are pissed off with it. They are proud that the sales are bad, because they're propagandists, not programmers.
I mean, that's true to an extent, but I caution against associating that bent with the programmers, because that's so much different than the narrative story writers.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with
the
that.
guy programming how to swing your sword or how Yasuke is going to blow through the wall probably didn't have any input on putting Yasuke in there. So,
Yeah.
and that's where the big problem is. It's twofold. It's on the game dev side, they're just recruiting these kids right out of college. So yes, they have no experience, no confidence, and they don't know what they're doing. And you're just trying to essentially put a skeleton crew together to launch a spaceship. It's a bad move. Nobody's experienced. You're going to get bad product, especially if you don't take time to teach them once they get there. The other fold to that is that the writers and stuff, they're not taking the game design classes. Those are the ones who are in the liberal arts classes, actually learning all of the, bigoted, whatever rhetoric of the day is. And so in the last few years, what happened was video game companies, the big publishers at the very least, they went, we want our video games to be considered cinema. It should be on the same level as movies. This is a very serious industry and we want you to take us seriously. So instead of going out and finding somebody with a passionate idea or a creative bent or something like that, they went to those prestigious liberal arts people who's, probably have some connections within the industry from their parents or a friend. And they said, I want you to write it. And that's the problem, is the people who are doing the writing, they're the propagandists. They're the ones who are fully in. They're the ones who start out and go, I don't care if this is supposed to be a game about cutting people in half with swords. There's going to be a 40-minute cutscene where we sit down and look directly at the player and tell them they're a bad person because when they go to bed at night, they don't flay themselves in the name of black people or something. They're the problem. And so if we want to tackle the game devs, we just need them to be more experienced. Stop recruiting the kids right out of college. Or if you are, don't put them at the very top. You're essentially recruiting these kids out of college and saying, you're the lead programmer now.
Well,
Good luck.
You know how this works? It works in the Army, okay? Even the Marines get new recruits. They don't make half the team new recruits, though. You get 2 guys at best added to a team that are greenhorns. At best, too, okay?
Yes.
And they have a real rough time because they're given the crappiest, most mind-numbing part of that job, that whole experience, until 2 new guys show up, and then they're relieved of their crap duty. And that's not how this gaming thing is working.
No.
As we talked about with the pipeline to hell that we found with Ubisoft building this boot camp where they eject these weirdos out into the rest of the industry to infect it. That's what ultimately we're dealing.
Not even hyperbole, folks. That was 100% accurate from Cider.
And that's so we're finding it now. Take a look at what's going on with Dragon Age, as you were publishing before you came in here. I think is that you have them now. They're happy with being producing a game people don't like. They're happy that it's not selling well. They're proud. This is a badge of honor that they've pissed off enough people about this. And so you're flatly, this is why I say even the programmers are in on it, because they're coming from the same school. They're coming from the same schools. You don't go to when you go to make video games, maybe in writing, it's a little different for the creative end of it. But when you go to the sculpting end of it, they're all at the same school. It's talking about this propaganda. You can't be coding too many white characters. You have to learn how to code the appropriate light replacement on different skin tones.
I know what you're saying, and that is a problem on our campuses, but knowing a bunch of people in those programs right now, that's not what they're learning. They're not sitting there and being taught, you got to, model 5 characters and then I'll judge, how diverse they are. They're literally just they're going, make a model and I will judge the model for it. Now, it seems the standards have dropped a lot, obviously, because everybody's coming out there. But that's why I make that distinction. The people on the technical ground level, maybe not the senior ones, maybe they have a little more input, but these kids coming out of the game dev college, they just want to develop. They maybe by virtue of being younger and being in the younger culture, they'll absorb some of that stuff, but their curriculum is mostly focused on 1s, 0s, and how to model cheaper rather than, quality. It really is the curriculums. I can, for example, when I was in college, I got an English degree. So I was in the liberal arts college. I had to suffer through all of the ridiculousness that, the early stages of the ridiculousness we're learning now. I had a friend who was in the engineering and computer sciences college. When we compared, our curriculums and what we were doing, he had nothing about societal like history or gender politics or any of that stuff. It was just, I got to make a build of this tomorrow. I got to build this. I got to do that. So like, that's why I make that distinction, because I'm not going to blame the guy again who's just making the sword swipe and say you did this. It's the guy at the top who's going, oh, that was a really good animation you made. Problem is, we're trying to make a more progressive message. You need to change that guy from being white to black. They're the ones who have all of the power nowadays.
Right back. I check on something.
Yeah. But that's the flip, everybody, I'm talking about, is back in the day, your designers and your programmers were very, very closely linked in their workflow. But nowadays, it's just like a movie, or for the most part, things like Uncharted or, even Resident Evil, they're all movies. They, a little while ago, Nerdigans, you probably remember this, but about a month ago, oh my God, what's his name? Crap, I know it too. Help me, Nerdigans, the Legend of Zelda guy at Nintendo.
Oh, Miyamoto?
No, not Miyamoto, the other one. Oh my God. Legend of Zelda guy, Nintendo. Eiji Onuma, that guy, the actual director, Eiji Onuma.
Oh, okay.
He was doing an interview, or he was being interviewed by Gene Park over at the Washington Post about Echoes of Wisdom. And they were like, hey, so how did you guys like start making this game? What was the development process? And Onoma basically came out and he said, well, Nintendo does it a little differently than the rest of the industry. We start building games on a gameplay idea, and then we make the story and everything fit that. The core thing we focus on is gameplay. And that is the giveaway there, is the power now for what a game is going to look like all rests on the writers. It doesn't matter if a programmer goes, oh, you know what? This might work a little better than that. Maybe they'll get their suggestion accepted. Most likely not. They'll probably just go, okay, but are they diverse enough? Are they this enough? And so like, and that's what I mean. Like, Cider's point isn't wrong. The propaganda is flowing on these campuses. It is in full bore, but it is still at least currently very, very, what's the word here? Like
narrative.
Well, like compartmentalized. There's not a lot. There probably is some level of crossover, because as anybody who's gone to college or knows of the college process knows that you have to do something called GEs for any degree, which is just to sort of dip your toes in all the fields to make you like well-rounded. So they probably take an English class or two at their programming game dev school, and they probably get it there. But yeah, most of the blame for this definitely lies with the writers. I mean,
maybe
Neil
the
Druckmann,
director too.
I consider the director as part of the writing team at the top of it. Because yeah, you're right. Director always has final say. But when we look at like the writing teams of these games, they're just all like failed screenwriters, people who didn't get their degrees, things like it's never great.
But that's why, like, when the comment about Ghost of Yode came up, I'm like, I don't think the Ghost of Yode is going to be in the situation that Assassin's Creed Shadows is in, from what I know anyway.
I agree with you. I think right now a lot of the concern over Yote is just based on the change in gender of the protagonist, because we don't know anything about it outside from that. We don't know what specific events they're going to cover, what story they're going to tell. I mean, we know the voice actor because she's crazy, but that's about all we know right now. The difference, so obviously we can't really speak to Yote right now, but the problem, at least I see with Yote versus, for the sake of this argument, Nerdigans, let's say that is what's happening over at Yote. Like they are trying to make a very narratively progressive, scold you title. Over there, I would at least believe that the dev team is experienced.
Yeah.
You're at least going to get a polished game. Your character is not going to clip through the ground. All the tables are going to be sitting flat. It's going to feel good to swing a sword. Regardless of the narrative, that's all going to work. With Assassin's Creed, when half of your team, and that's just what he's saying, it's probably more than half, when they
Probably
don't
the
know.
majority.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Nerdigans. Like when they don't know what they're doing,
It looks
it's
like
just,
it too. And you
and
know,
that's 100%.
you know what's crazy though is remember what he said. He said that they spent hella money on research and trying to make this authentic. Well, if you're going to do that, then, you know, you might want to invest in your dev team and make sure you have like
Right.
the best people available, like someone that's an expert in this type of genre, at the very least, helming your team, and someone that's doing someone that is like the senior programmer, like helming that too. I mean, like, come on. I mean, I understand if you're going to have like and Ubisoft should at least have an in-house training program for fuck's sake.
That's sort of what I'm getting at too, right? Is like, it's not necessarily bad to take somebody and throw them in the deep end, right? Like we've all been there. We've all learned sometimes in some situations better, some worse, but that's life and experience.
Yeah.
What they're doing is but you know, like if you get thrown in the deep end as a kid and you can't quite get it, your dad or your mom or the lifeguard or whatever, they'll come in and they'll get you and they'll be like, okay, you're not swimming, but here's how we do it. They're at Ubisoft, they're just throwing them in the water and saying, oh, you can't swim? Well, you better learn. like there's no help, no support coming out of them. But yeah, Nerdigan, so to your point, this does relate back to the fact that they want the video game industry, at least in the West. We talk about this a lot, Nerdigans, and you talk about it on your streams with like Jacob and your own streams, and I talk about it on mine, and I hear Cider talk about it all the time. The West is embarrassed by this sort of stuff. Video games, comic books, cartoons, to them, to the West, that's childish. That's weird. If you do that, you're a weird baby who shouldn't be taken seriously. So all the insecure people, now that they're in the dev industry, they go, oh, we gotta be like cinema. We have to be, because I want to be taken seriously. So now that's how they produce the games, right? Because like when you make a movie, Nerdigans, for the most part, that team, like the team that made, let's say like Captain America Civil War, those were all like hired from various companies or whatever. You probably didn't keep all of those same lighting people and riggers and like audio people for Black Panther or Captain Marvel or Avengers Endgame, right? But and that's how movies can work. But video games, they don't understand what video games are, right, Nerdigans? They don't understand the culture, what it means to actually play a game, what it feels like to play a game. They just see it as content. So they go, make that content. Oh, it didn't work? Well, get rid of that team anyway. We're going to try something else, or we're going to do something new. There's the defining part of the upper levels of the industry is just a refusal to say are bad. Nobody in the West will admit, yeah, we're doing this wrong. Yeah, this was a mistake. Oops, we shouldn't have done that. At best, they will just flip their ideology and roll with it as if it's supposed to, as if that's what they always believed. What was it? I was reading, so for ahead of the new Brave New World movie, the Captain America movie, Marvel is launching a new Captain America Sam Wilson series. Whatever, boring, blah, blah, blah. I read an interview with the creative team. I don't remember who they are. They're like a newer like set of writer and artist. They're not people from, our time, but the writer basically, he brought up this, he was asked like, so what do you think about like the idea of tackling this character in this like cultural moment or whatever? And his response, like, he came out and he's like, well, I hear a lot of pushback a lot that I can't write a Black character because I'm white, but I think that's so limiting. And as I do my best to learn from my partner, to go out and do this research. And I think that's the joy of storytelling, is getting different perspectives and learning. And I'm like, bullshit, because for the last like 10 years, all of you are going, if you're not Black, do not even look at a Black character. And like, I know what's happening. I just, barely touch on just real life. It's the political game here in America with Trump's win and his overwhelming win, regardless of what you think about him and his policies or whatever. The fact of the matter is his reelection was a huge rejection of the insanity that we've been in for the last 10 years. So everybody, I mean, I feel like we might've touched upon it last week. But I know like since over the past week, I've seen so many celebrities be like, oh, I don't want to, I like Trump, or I'm fine with him. I don't want to talk about him. There was the Sebastian Stan. He made that movie, The Apprentice, and Variety does a series called Actors on Actors, where they have an actor interview another actor, pretty substandard. It is what it is on the tin. Sebastian Stan came out and he was like, nobody wanted to do an interview with me about The Apprentice because they didn't want to talk about Donald Trump. And it's like, oh, tides are shifting, because if this was 3 months ago, everybody would have been rushing to the studio to go, Orange Man bad, Orange Man end of society. So that is a big factor that's happening. And hopefully, of course, we still got to crap out everything that was still in the works beforehand, but hopefully we see a larger just general shift, which I think is starting. But as always, don't get excited until you see the results.
I mean, look at what's happening with Hollywood. Hollywood is learning. Yeah, we kind of screwed up because of the strikes, and we don't have enough content. But also, I'm just looking at it, and also looking at the visa stuff too. It's like there's this double standard. There's this, and we've been talking about it. There's it's really becoming more apparent on how xenophobic the entertainment industry is, and also how xenophobic visa is, in a sense, because someone pointed out to me, it's like, yeah, you could use Visa on OnlyFans, but you can't use it on mature Japanese content. You could use the Visa on guns too, but you can't use it on Japanese content.
Hold that thought. Let's talk about it in just a second, because there's just one. There's a user question I want to answer real quick, and then I do want to hit that before we go. Yeah. But Tony Pinochet is down there. Regular comment. Oh, Cider's back. If you want to highlight it, you could. I was just going to read it because I didn't know you were back. But Tony says, nobody has been able to give me a realistic answer. If every game dev has rules as to who they can hire, what happens when woke people get laid off? Are they just recycled dev to dev? Ideology capture? The answer is a lot of those specific DEI hires, especially if they were hired by in service of a DEI initiative, they're not the ones getting cut, because that, like Nerdigans was saying, or Nerdigans and I were saying a second ago, that would be taking responsibility. That would be them going, oh, this didn't work out for us. Yeah, our bad. Sorry. And companies will not take an L. Like Cider said, they want all of their images to be perfect. So they would those are the ones who are going to stick around. The other option, and we've seen it before, the people if they get laid off, they file lawsuits. They file discrimination lawsuits. They say, oh, you laid me off because I was X, Y, or Z. And they just cause headaches for the organization. Otherwise, yeah, you're totally right, Tony. That's what happens. The writer gets shifted off and punted to a new production. And we're lucky if a reporter goes through their IMDb, right? Like here at Bounding, Cider, myself, Nerdigans, all of it, like we're really good about that. But oftentimes you'll go to an outlet and it'll be like, oh yeah, a new movie coming from first Star Trek reboot director J.J. Abrams. And it's like, well, wait. You mean the guy who did all the Star Wars crap too and ruined all? And they're like, no, just think about Star Trek. That's all I want. That's all you're supposed to think about. So it never really disappears unless that person themselves decides they want to go out of the industry. And that's something we will continue dealing with for the foreseeable future until the current Zoomer generation this is America's problem, right? They always overcorrect, because the Zoomer generation, they're not going to take all of this neoliberal progressive nonsense, but they also worship Andrew and Tristan Tate. So they're overcorrecting really hard, even though that's a correction we need to make, just not that extreme. So it'll take time. Unfortunately, this ideological battle will persist at least for a couple more years, for the foreseeable future. Who knows if it'll ever die? I mean, it really doesn't in America.
It's a culture war. It never dies.
Yeah, exactly. So
fighting the culture war in the Greek days.
I mean, the culture war's been going on since what? The 40s.
There was culture.
40s.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say, Cider. I'm ever since two cavemen were I like rock. I like a different rock. Your rock bad. Your rock make Grog wife feel ugly. Crack
right.
Or something.
It's that quick, who was the first caveman to suggest banning fire because another caveman got burnt? That's what we're dealing with.
We don't know, because that tribe got wiped out because they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't make it. They didn't make it. But speaking of not making it, Visa has confirmed that
Yeah.
they don't want to play with Japanese naughty stuff. At least
look at that.
as far as
We're
manga goes.
full circle. We come back to anime to end the night. But this is what Nerdigans was talking about, and her points were salient, and we're definitely going to talk about them. But for those of you who haven't heard, over the past few months, there has been a giant situation brewing in Japan where Visa, as well as other credit card payment processors, but mainly Visa, have started to deny services to any retailer who offers adult content. And by adult content, we mean completely legal, anime, manga, comics, stuff that, could be sold over here anyway, like in America, it doesn't break any rules. This stuff is Visa saying, no, you can't do it. We're not going to give you any help on that. So we've seen Melon Books, which is a giant retailer in Japan. They've had to change their payment processing system. Manga Library Z, which was an online archive of out-of-print manga that was started by Ken Akamatsu, the Love Hina mangaka, that got shut down because without the credit card processing, they had no way of getting funds. So it's been this big brewing situation, and we haven't had any real direct answers on it until this week. So until this week, it's been a lot of, why are they doing this? Is this a culture thing? Is this specific to that company? Nobody really knew, but we all speculated that it was due to their hosting of adult content. Well, during a press conference last week, the Visa head of operations and everything in the Asia region, he came out and he was giving a presentation on this is what we're doing in the next year. Here's our growth, yada, yada, yada. And at the end, there was a Q&A session, as there always is. And he was asked straight up by an attendee, what's going on with Visa and these these anime companies, these manga companies? What are you guys doing? Is there any truth to the fact that you're banning adult stuff? And the executive basically came out and said, we are. And yeah, I know we do. We normally are totally open to anything that's legal, but we need to ban this stuff to protect the brand. And according to the article that was recapping his presentation, the writer summarized that after he said that statement, he made a lot of implications that they're just getting started. It's not temporary. They're going to be reaching out their reach to start shutting all of this down. Now, Nerdigans, your point is exactly what I was about to talk about. If you want to talk about the hypocrisy behind it.
So there's a lot of hypocrisy with this. Well, first of all, I do want to mention that Melon Books, last I checked, is still going to accept American Express. So in the grand scheme of things, American Express is probably going to get a lot of new customers out of this. So
100%.
So hopefully American Express is smart and doesn't pull this stupid stunt and follow Visa's footsteps. I'm hoping they're smart and don't do that stuff. But the thing that's very hypocritical about Visa, and this is kind of the same mindset that we see here in the West, and it's basically the meme where you have aged up fictional lolly characters, and you have the soy jack being ew, pedophilia, gross, blah blah blah, and then you see the South Park character, you see South Park, Big Mouth, Family Guy, which does there's nasty, questionable shit up in there, and they're oh, this is great. The soy jack's oh, this is great. It's literally that meme in terms of a double standard. That's what this is. And you're muted.
Oh, shoot. I literally looked down at it. I must have subconsciously, because I was okay, unmuted, I'll talk. And I must have pushed it just in my brain. But no, you're right, Nerdigans. And I want to connect that back to something you said before, because it's not just blatant hypocrisy. It's xenophobia too. It's actual Japanese discrimination, because for all we love diversity, blah, blah, blah. We all know that the Western industries hate Japan, and they're specifically targeting that. Nobody here is, none of those credit card companies are coming to America and saying, Lady Death, I forget who draws her, but it's Lady Death, your comics are too risque. We got to shut them down, right? Nobody's coming for, like you said, Nerdigans, nobody's coming for OnlyFans. Nobody is coming for any of this other content except anime and manga and Japanese media in general, right? I mean, I know you see this all the time, Nerdigans, but one of my favorite sort of rebuttals to the just growing demand for like anti-Japanese censorship is like, you know, everybody always debates, oh, you know, I got to improve the script for English when I'm localizing it. It's like, you only ever get that stuff in English localizations. Nobody argues about like the German one or the Italian one or the Spanish one, because those stay accurate. Nobody is going over there and saying, I need to improve upon it. So like, it is very much this weird Western like maybe it's this jealousy that we don't want them to eat our lunch, like hypothetically, or the industry doesn't want them to, but that is 100% what's in play here.
It's crazy too. It's also the mentality that anime or cartoons are for kids too.
Yep.
I mean, there's this one interview from Caleb Cook, who was a localizer at Viz, that he did like 4 years ago. And he said that something that like Viz has been doing for a minute is trying to like kind of, I call it the for kidsing effect. Kind of thing, because because they're trying to sell more books to like a broader audience, kind of like what, you know, Sero did for Dragon Quest by lowering the age to what was it, E10 or E10, E10, from teen to E10, so that way, you know, more people can get it. That's what they're doing. I saw it with someone pointed out on Reddit, on manga Reddit, like Dan Dan is rated M, but Chainsaw Man is for older teen, which I just thought was kind of bizarre.
That's interesting. I mean, Japan's rating board is all over the place and different too, but so like we don't know the exacts, but that is very, very like on its face, right? You would think it would be the other way around.
Or it would be like the same, considering.
That's actually probably better. As soon as I said it, I was like, wait.
No, it'd be the same, especially considering Denji's character, how like
there's Denji's character, what he gets up to. There's I mean, just the infamous chibi review scene from the first episode of Dan Dan Dan, like that alone should have like
that's rated the same rating. Yeah, well, it is the same. Well, no, that's already an M, but like
right.
With Chainsaw Man, I'm talking about in particular with the first chapter alone, with how bloody and gory it is, and then of course there's there is when he eats Makima on top of that, and like it is. Someone was telling me that older teen stuff gets away with a lot, but I'm like, dude, Viz is trying to reach a broader audience. And another thing that you notice too, and I've noticed it more because like I'm part of the manga stream era, so I'm used to fan translations for like Boku no Hero.
Oh yeah, same.
And something that Caleb Cook pointed out is like, yeah, there's a lot less cussing in the Viz localization, because it's trying to, you know, reach out to more kids. That's what they're trying to do. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes a lot more sense with what's going on. And I'm starting to see the same thing going on with Bleach, you know, as I'm covering 1,000-Year Blood War. I'm like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And it's kind of scary. They're doing
well, like that to me reflects just this, like in America, especially compared to Japan, we coddle the hell out of our children. Like, obviously, you know, love them and care for them. And when they have boo-boos, you know, help them out. But in Japan, like one of my favorite shows, and I know I've brought this up before, there's a show called Old Enough. And it's based on this Japanese tradition where when a kid reaches like, you know, 3 or 4 or 5, a tradition in Japan is that their parents will send them on an errand, like a big kid errand, you know, go to the store, get us eggs and come back. And obviously like they, you know, watch them or whatever, but it's supposed to be this moment of putting your child out there and letting them fend for themselves and growth. In America, you don't have that so like as widespread anymore, right? We have, oh, I need to know where my kid is at all times. I need my AirTag in your backpack. Hey, call me like the second you leave. Oh, I don't want my kid going to see this movie because it's too bloody, or I don't want my kid playing football because he might get hurt. Like it's just way too coddling, and that's what happens, right? When you look at like what the youth get in Japan, they get Chainsaw Man, they get Dan Dan Dan, things with mature themes that they're able to handle and understand because they aren't shielded from it and told that it's, you know, dangerous. But in America, we get it all, you know, farts instead of the F word or whatever, because, oh, no, that's too dangerous. Like you can't have that. And in America, we don't generally have like a grow up point until maybe like 16, 18 when you can
40.
get your driver's license.
40.
Yeah, 40
40
at this point. No, for real, 40. I mean, especially if we look at like the leftists, they just want to be infants for the rest of their life. They want the nanny state to take care of them. So yeah, no, it sucks, Nerdigans, and I don't know what to do about it because yeah, they like this anti-Japanese stuff is just going to keep going. We can't make them bend because we don't have payment processor power. And I don't know. What do you think happens, Nerdigans? How do you think this plays out?
Well, I know the Japanese
you
government,
know mangaka, you know people.
well, I know the Japanese government is doing something. You know, they're meeting up and doing trying to do something about it. But like, we can't force the private sector to bend to our will. Nah,
Right.
you can't do that. I'm believe in the free market, so that's why I'm like, the American Express is going to rise from the ashes of this.
I hope so.
I really hope so too, and I'm really hoping that we see more credit card companies come out of this too. I know I'm not a fan of Bitcoin or crypto or anything of that. I do not believe in that in that crap. I know people think
a lot of people killed.
Yeah.
I was going to say, everybody buy my new coin, #nerd or $Nerdigans. It's going to be the next thing.
No, I know a lot of people are saying crypto is the best way to go, or Bitcoin's the best way to go for purchasing power and stuff like that. You could go that route, I guess. If
it's a good case. Like this is a good case to be like to argue in favor of like crypto, right? Like, because you can point to something like this. Obviously, it's way too hard to implement right now, but this is like something that if I were making a case to Congress, I would bring this and be like, look at this. This is why we need it.
There's also Discover Card, which is a joke right now, but this would be the time for Discover.
Who has one of those anymore?
No one has
born in like
one.
1976. Nobody has a Discover Card anymore.
That's why I'm like, that's why I'm like, Discover is time to make a comeback.
This is their turn.
On the Japan side of this, the culture is shifting against English speakers. Not that they're violent or anything. It's that Japan is giving up on English. The culture is deciding the West is not worth communicating with. Yeah. Youth are not interested in English classes. They are more interested in engaging in Korean and Chinese now. Russian as well. And it's purely because they don't want to hear it. What do they have to talk to us about? What do they have to talk to? Exactly.
Well, it's because a lot of these idiots are just attacking them.
Well, that's what cider means. It's like,
right.
What are they? What is anything an American, and just generalizing, obviously, like what the hell does America have to offer an average Japanese citizen at this point? Like, feel bad about World War II that you didn't fight in? Like,
Mr. Japan, the guy that I listen to, he's like 35, and he just kind of talks about being man on the street kind of guy. He's not an interviewer. He just lives in Japan. He just talks about his experience. And he was saying that he was reading in the newspaper that something like only 30% of Japanese university students are taking English related classes right now. And he said that's the trend. They hate English. They hate speaking English. They don't want anything to do with it. He said he thinks that's a huge mistake because we're going to need to depend on English speakers to stay safe from China. And because he's an anti-Japanese military guy, he doesn't want the Japanese military to come back. So,
oh wow,
he's most of the people in Japan, by the way. They don't want a military.
I know, yeah. That's what I was saying. Is like that debate always fascinates me because I don't weigh in because I'm an American. I have a completely different viewpoint, but I always like seeing like so many of them don't want it, but some do. What are the arguments? It's crazy.
I think I know the other reason why behind it. I think Rahm Emanuel is part of the reason why, because they can't stand him and what he did over there. He really cost us a lot, but he's gone. And I know a lot of Japanese people like Trump, so him coming back into power is really going to help a lot over there. Hopefully he puts someone over there in terms of our Japanese ambassador is going to be, obviously he's going to be way better than Rahm Emanuel. But
well, yeah, as somebody who used to live in Chicago, I knew from the jump that man should never have been he failed upwards 100% to get But no, you just said something there that like is in my head, and maybe Cider can weigh in on this too. I also have to imagine that like a lot of the reason that English is falling out of favor is because we're not like an economic powerhouse anymore. If you're not military, you don't really need to engage with us. So like maybe with Trump's, you know, second term and all the economic changes he theoretically will bring, maybe that will cause a shifting tide too. I don't know how much, if at all, that plays, but that was just sort of
It'd be a huge play because Trump's already targeting Japan. Japan wants to buy U.S. steel and want to own it, meaning not like purchase some of it. They want to own the production of it. And Trump said, no, it's not going to happen. So that's going to put us off on a bad foot. Now, I already know that Trump wants to work with Yoshida on making an Asian NATO. So that's going to be the trade-off. You leave American steel alone, and we'll make sure we help you. We sponsor and support your Asian NATO. And Ishida's in a weak position. His own party doesn't want a Asian NATO, but for them presently, including the Philippines, it is the only response to China's ever expanding influence there. Because now BRICS has emboldened China to continue the Belt and Roads Initiative, which has severely diminished Japan's fishing waters. So
that's like related to that whole 9-line like battle that has been going on for years, right? Yep.
Yeah, and also the East China Sea situation, and then there's the whole thing with Taiwan, which is going back to Kadokawa. That's another thing that people need to understand too, is that Kadokawa does have a Taiwan branch, and if Tencent gets a hold of that, that's kind of a problem for them. I mean, China's already putting the democratic people of Hong Kong, the leaders, they're already going to jail.
Yes.
So you have to imagine what's going to happen to the employees in the Taiwanese branch.
Well, the thing about Taiwan is a little tricky. So the people in Taiwan are okay with unification. They elect pro-Chinese party leaders all the time. But they're pro-Chinese in the sense of, we don't want to bomb China. We don't want war with China. We're not going to saber rattle to cause trouble with China. We want to maintain our economic sovereignty and our legal sovereignty, and the rest of it's fine. They can do whatever they want. And that the people of Taiwan are not adverse to rejoining China. However, they don't know what they're getting into. That's the on the ground opinion I have from people that live there. I have a couple of artists that live there, and what they've explained is that most people think it's just going to be, oh yeah, we're China again. Everything's great. It's wonderful. We're a united nation. And it's like, you guys have the culture that the communists hate. They need to erase that so that you don't exist anymore, so they're not embarrassed by what the Chinese imperialists were. So
1,000%.
And that so it's one of those situations where like we're better off as a country if we hitch these tariffs up, force these companies to come in and build factories here and put Americans to work, than extending our military power to try and hold our supply lines together so that our NATO cheap C-class USBs are nice and $5 at the gas station as opposed to $20 at the electronics store. There's going to be a bitter pill to
Biden's
swallow.
been on that, all right? He's been completing that perfectly. It's been working out for us fine.
Well, China, 10 hours before South Korea went down the shitter, they announced that they were going to stop exporting weapons-grade chemical, weapons-grade metals to the U.S. So, we're entering territory now where like we need our own domestic chip production. Yeah. We need our own domestic electronics production. We need to bring our medicine home.
Like
they're going to start screwing with that.
I learned that. In terms of the medicine, though, I can tell you right now, we do get medicine from, and actually technology too. We get that from Israel as well.
Some of it, but like
I don't doubt it.
Not all of it, but we do get some from Israel. But, so at least some.
That's what I was going to bring up, Nerdigans. Is I just learned that we're reliant for like roughly 40% of our pharmaceuticals in the U.S. on China. Yep. And if China said tomorrow, like, no, we're done, it's like, yes, it's not over for us, but I think it's something like a 2-month disruption to pretty much every medical like supply line, which is disastrous for like that's a move you use in like a Total War game, right? Like or Civ. Like that is a move that would screw us.
So this is why Japan is going to be okay with Trump hitting them with tariffs, because the exchange is going to be the support of the Asian NATO, and if they can't get that done, at the very least, Trump's going to be like, "I'm going to make sure that you will be able to go out and fish in your own waters. You will not have Chinese fishermen trying to electrocute your fish. We're not having this anymore.
The best boats. We have the best boats to loan you. It'll be great. It'll be
We will sell you the very best American. You've seen the Alaskan crab fishermen. We will sell you those. Okay, now you know they're good for your waters. You know they're deadliest catch. You could deadliest catch the Chinese if you'd like. It's your problem, not ours. So that's the whole thing that they're dealing with. The other thing is that China is rapidly polluting the South China Sea. The Yellow Sea is turning yellow with sewage. They are just full on throwing that out the Yangtze right into the ocean. Unfiltered shit, just right into the ocean. And it's become such a problem that because there's billions of them, right? That's a lot of shit every day. And so the fish are overwhelmed. The lobsters are like, "Hey man, we gotta get out of here. Neighborhood's gone to hell." And so that's what the problem is that they've killed off now the space around China is becoming a toxified zone,
like a dead zone.
Right?
What do you call it? A moat.
Right, it's just grotesque, horrible amounts of chemicals, sewage, just all sorts of that going down through there, and then it's hitting the regular waters. You got mixing with Fukushima's neat little chemical dump that continues to leak out into the Pacific. So you have a nice superhero soup out there where Godzilla's going to rise up.
That's what I was going to say, Nerdigans. I was like, that's where Blinky is coming from. I guarantee it.
Right. The bloop. And you've got these giant monsters that are going to start attacking Tokyo, these Chinese shit monsters. But that's where we're at. But that's where we're at. Is that Japan is in a position now where they have to accept our help, no matter what terms we set. They have to accept our help. Korea, same position. They have to accept our help. There's no negotiation anymore. They're either going to go with China or they're going to go with us. That is the choice.
I don't think they want to die from pollution.
Right, and they understand that. I think the biggest problem that went on with Seoul is that Yoon wanted to purify anybody in the government that was doing business with North Korea or China.
Yeah.
And the government said, "That'll kill the economy, dumbass." And so they had to put the brakes on it, because what do you know? You can't just put a gun to somebody's head and say, "What kind of Korean are you?" And you can't just do that. It doesn't work.
No,
See, that's why they're going to ally with Japan. They're going to get somebody from over there to do it, because that's just in their blood.
Well, Ishida wants to put stuff to rest. Abe didn't. Abe wanted to just maintain that Japan's perfect and wonderful forever. Ishida's like, "We fucked up. But we stopped fucking up. Can we be done talking about the fucking up and move on?" And that's what Ishida wants to do. It's over, okay? Whatever happened, it happened.
We get it. You've made fun of me for 4 years.
We understand you sucked for about 1,200 years, and we didn't suck for about 1,200 years. But now everything sucks. So let's just agree to move on. And that's where they're at.
I have a question for you, because with the idea of Japan not having a military back, what would they do in a NATO? Would they just be money contributions?
That's the two parts of it, is that in order to have the Asian NATO is that you have to have the Japanese military come back to life. Ooh. And that's the other part of it. And the only way that'll happen is if the US basically says, "We'll provide everything you need to become a military overnight."
That's just giving them back we took their ball away for 10 minutes, and it's like, "Did you learn? Okay, you can have it back now."
Well, see, this is the problem.
China.
Well, see, this is the problem. Well, see, this is the problem, is that the Japanese have spent the better part of a century trying to say sorry for obliterating most of their neighbors for a while there. And granted, they were obliterated by their neighbors for a while preceding that. There was quite a bit of obliteration going on in that little corner of the world. And so what will immediately happen is that their old enemy, China, will become their enemy once again. And the issue is
aren't they already the enemy anyway?
well, they are, but the issue is that now you've given guns to both sides, as opposed to one side that says we're really nice now, and we understand that you want to kill us, but we really wish you wouldn't. Now we give them guns, and they say, "Dare me, motherfucker! Give me a reason."
And then the U.S. goes, okay, that's too far. Let's make this fair.
Well, we're not prepared for a militarized Japan. The thing is that the Japanese, their whole culture was for about 1,200 years. And that hasn't really gone away yet. They're just really good at putting it in their fiction and their tokusatsu and getting it out of their system with weird dances. But when you tell them the killing's back on, they go, "All right, boys, put the glow sticks away."
Well, there's a reason Battleship Yamato keeps getting like a new movie every year. Like,
well, that means they're going to just get the Gundams out and they're going to like actually make it usable and then go attack China.
Please,
that Karatas. Look, they're still working on Karatas. All right, Karatas is still a thing that they're developing. It's got even faster joint motion now. You might see giant robot battles in the streets of Tokyo yet. So,
or in the streets of Shanghai.
Yeah, right.
The future is worth living too.
And that's kind of like what we're facing, is that we are rapidly approaching like this weird reset in the world where we zap back to the 1930s for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And then when everybody gets it out of their system, by the 1960s, we go back to our utopia. Oh, we didn't really want to blow you guys up after all. We're all going to space now and run on atomic power.
No, that's exactly what happens, right? And then we get to space and we help each other colonize Mars for like 5 years. Then it kicks off again and everybody's fighting on Mars this time.
Right. We don't like your chopsticks.
Oh my God, Dostoevsky was right.
Dude, I don't like your rice. Like that's it doesn't even have
your
to be
Martian rice, mister. It makes my wife feel fat. We're going to war.
You grow your rice in that patch. I grow my rice in this patch, and don't you ever dare let them like come into contact.
But that's what we're looking at, unfortunately, is that as we continue down this road of deglobalization, the sovereign nations must behave sovereignly, and that means nobody gets along 100% anymore. We get along about 60%,
And then there will be a rebellion that rises out from that.
Of course.
God damn it. Like, seriously, we just, like, in Bungo Stray Dogs, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, Dostoevsky, the villain, literally had this freaking conversation or a similar conversation with Fukuzawa, and then he stabbed him afterwards because Fukuzawa was saying that that humans could live peacefully. And Dostoevsky was like, nah, we're going to have eternal peace through war, and on one side it's going to be humans and then the other side is going to be users. So
I mean, isn't that what Tomino said? Like, I feel like he got asked a little while ago, like, what do you think about the future of space? And he's like, yeah, it's not happening.
It's not.
His exact quote is, has any general learned their lesson? Has learned from history? Has any soldier learned from history? Has any politician learned from history? No. And so
exactly.
He loves Tomino.
And that's ultimately, the end route of it. But Pinochet's helicopter tours brings us up, and he asks, when do we get to send Bruce Willis to save us from an asteroid? And I don't think Bruce Willis is going to be.
Yeah, I was going to say we might have missed
that
window. Yeah, we need it.
Well, I wanted to enter this. I wanted to enter this into your lexicon. Now that we're back into pro-America stuff, remember the America porn movies? Not like porno movies, but they're like America porn, as in like, go America, America's the best.
Yeah.
Like Schwarzenegger movies, the Rocky movies, stuff like that, Rambo.
Yeah.
So that was obviously Judgment Day, or whichever one. What was it? The one where they sent the asteroid, where they went up to the asteroid. What was that called again?
Armageddon.
Armageddon, that's right. Where obviously Armageddon's going to get remade. They're going to go to Michael Bay and they'll be like, we got to redo it. Do you think they'll get Glenn Powell to shave his head?
Oh.
I hope so. I didn't even think about.
Oh my
I love
God.
him, so yes, do it.
Chris Rock reprises his role.
role.
Or was it Kevin Hart? I forget which one of the funny tiny black guys that they sent to space, but yeah. Steve Buscemi could go back up there, but now he's like a senior NASA engineer and he's not like weird anymore. He's a total normal guy, you know? And you get Ben Affleck and he doesn't even leave Earth anymore. He's just like, no, my wife won't let me. And
the thing is, though, remember, since it's a sequel, you have to up it. You have to up the game in like typical Bay fashion. So that means like that's exactly what I was going to say, Insider. 2 asteroids. Be careful. They get the first one and they go, sir, it's not gone. What are you talking about? There's another object on the radar.
I only broke it into 2, sir. Now it's 2 asteroids we have to worry, and they're synchronized with the polar caps. They're headed apart. We only have 10 minutes before they are completely too far apart to do anything about them.
Why
Send Steven Tyler.
Why'd you have to make this joke literally after I saw the same thing in Pokemon Adventures, Omega Sapphire, and
history repeats itself.
Well, no, wait. That's the thing is that the Red Hat thing is that Michael Bay is like conservative. I don't know if you caught this in Transformers, but he was shitting all over Obama. Like
Not just Transformers. Oh, okay, that specifically, yeah. But like in every movie, you can just feel like a flag like erecting in your pants while you watch his movies. Like
Helicopters at Sunset. It's a Michael Bay movie, baby. Helicopters at Sunset. And yeah, Earth Sandwich. There it is. Armageddon 2, Earth Sandwich. That's right. Earth Sandwich. And that is exactly what, yeah. Oh, we already tried it with Woke Flex. Ah, right. Okay.
No.
But no. See, that's the thing is that we'll be in that pro-America point, though. And that's what I'm curious about is if they'll redo it and they'll do one that's actually like kind of pro-America. That's like cool. I always love the joke in the commentary track when Ben Affleck's talking about that movie. He's like, I pulled Michael Bay aside and I asked him, like, why are they training drillers to be astronauts instead of training like how hard is it to drill a hole? And he said, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That was just the whole thing. Like it's really stupid to send a bunch of oil drillers up to space when it's just drilling a hole. Like, how hard is it to drill a hole?
Like, yeah, his movies might not always be like the best, but I like Michael Bay for stuff like that. Like he knows what he's doing, and he's just like, shut up.
It's just like your brain goes, yeah, sure, they have to send oil drillers up. They're the only ones that know how to drill oil holes, and that's what they have to put the nukes down to. There's no time to teach astronauts how to drill holes. We've got time to teach oil riggers how to be astronauts, though. We definitely have time for that.
Training and everything, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and Pinochet's Helicopter Tours for $5 says, there is a movie called Songbird by Michael Bay. There's a reason nobody has heard of it. Look at what the movie is about and when it came out. Is it a 9/11 movie?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
I don't think so, but it's like when you say like when it came out and Michael Bay, I have to...
Oh, it's based on the Coof. That's why nobody has seen it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was released to a premium video on demand by STX Film. I've literally never heard of any of these people. Yeah, no, I can see why, Tony. But like, this is crazy too. It's the cast is like KJ Apa, who played Archie in Riverdale, Craig Robinson, Bradley Whitford, Alexandria Daddario, Demi Moore, and nobody knows.
No one's allowed to talk about it.
This is crazy. Well, I know what I got to check out now. There better be somebody better cough and then just explode. Oh, hell yeah. First sentence of the synopsis on Wikipedia. By 2024, COVID-19 has been mutated into COVID-23 and the world is in its 4th quarantine year. That's what I'm talking about, Michael Bay. That's so stupid, but I'm so on board for it.
And that's how he works. He just takes what your brain's like, yeah, that's the lowest level of believability, and then he works with that.
And he runs with it.
He reaches the point where the eyebrow goes up, and he's like, okay, stop there. And now we'll go.
Hey, the audience is about to have a thought. We got to edit this down.
They're going to question this any second now. We better turn into something interesting. Make a bus explode.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. Every time your brain's about to be like, wait a minute, there's just giant robots going down the highway and cars aren't like freaking the fuck out. They aren't like boom, something explodes. Like, I'm not asking questions anymore.
Never mind, I am in.
You're like, why are these 2 tiny robots even involved with the Autobots? They clearly have no purpose among these 14-foot tall robots. Racist joke. Wow, I'm not asking questions anymore. You know,
All right, Michael Bay, we're in.
one of them had a gold tooth. Both of them had a gold tooth for some reason.
A gold like snaggle tooth. Like it was so bad.
Yeah, it's I feel like he looked at Beetlejuice and he's like, I need 2 of those.
No, you know what I just realized now? This is what we need, Cider. Live action G Gundam directed by Michael Bay.
Sure.
I thought Michael Bay was directing
nail it.
but yeah,
He'll nail
No,
it. The only caveat is that the original design team have visual control.
Oh, 100%.
Other than that,
1000%.
he's good to go.
Otherwise, you're gonna have an RX-78 with like 900 panels
With
on
balls.
and with balls.
With balls. It would be the American Gundam.
Yes. Or it would be the it would be the Tequila Gundam, and then when it like whips away its cloak, just cojones.
Yeah, yeah, that's a joke Michael Bay would make. Go cojones, and the balls rocket launch at you.
No,
yeah.
it would be like you don't have the guts to like come fight me, and he goes, Senor, say nothing about my cojones and just
Huevos.
bam. Yeah, my huevos. You know what I have for breakfast? Huevos.
Yeah, Chibbity Crockett will be played by The Rock. It'll be great.
How did
Doman
The Rock
costume?
get
Mark
these
Wahlberg.
jobs?
Mark Wahlberg is the Toga.
Hey! You seen this guy? You seen this guy?
This hand of mine is glowing red, mister, and I swear it's telling me to grasp victory.
Grasp victory like the Celtics last night.
Erupting, burning finger. This doesn't come off as snappy.
Not at all. Just like through the mud.
I'm going to do that with AI now. I'm going to try and make that happen now.
That's incredible.
Oh man, but that's enough of a bombshell to end the show on. I think.
Yeah, that's where we are with Asia, with all of the political updates, which is why I enjoyed this mini ending Tokyo Happy Hour, because if you guys know, like Tokyo Happy Hour, if you guys don't catch that show, Cider Nerdigans don't just talk the media; they talk like what's going on, current events, try to give you the context to the mentality of everybody. So I'm glad this was super. I had no idea about the Asian NATO. That's crazy to me. I'm so curious to see how they will try to make that work.
I know, especially with TPP in place too. How are they going to get around that?
That's a good question.
The thing is that yeah, you got to understand is that if the U.S. says it's going to happen, it happens.
It's going to happen.
TP whatever, they don't matter. They're whatever.
Trump. Somebody will ask Trump about it. Be like, TP, I already had the janitor stuck up. We don't need this, and he'll just like redline it.
And that's just exactly that. You know, he doesn't care. That's just what'll happen is that if Japan makes a strong enough case, he'll just go to Korea and be like, "Do you like not being North? How about that? You're gonna work with Japan now," and it's over. You know, go with the Vietnamese. Do you like not speaking Chinese? Congratulations, you're friends with the Japanese now. We'll see you later.
But Vietnamese is communist, though.
Well, they don't like the Chinese at all. There have been numerous wars, and that border is almost as contested as North and South Korea. I mean,
it's like that one group, like
dangerous.
LGBT or LGB without the T or whatever. Like, yeah, they're gay. They don't like the extremes or the extremes.
And that's really what it is that like they did the.
They're like communist.
It's too long to get into.
They're like communist adjacent.
Well, kind of. They were like, America came and blew up a lot of stuff and said a lot of crazy things, but we kind of like them anyway. And that was what happened with Vietnam. And China was like, we don't like them. And Vietnam's like, fuck you. And that's
the exact same thing. I feel like that's exactly how we are with every Asian country, because that was the response
we're Goku.
Japan had to bombing them. That was the response the Philippines had to invading them. Like,
we're Goku. That's what we do. We beat their ass.
We really are. We really are.
Launch our head through the torso of our enemy, and then when they heal, they become our best friend, and they raise our kid for us. It's great.
And sometimes they, when we're not able to, they fight our battles for us. Like when a certain streamer is not in our borders, but they're in Korea's borders, and
right. And you discover a neat racist hack where introducing yourself in Korean sounds suspiciously like saying a hard R.
It's, man, that guy, I think the most disappointing thing about the coup and the martial law failing is like, I just wanted things to get worse for Johnny Somali. That's all I wanted.
I love the weak hero realness that has happened with Johnny Somali. Like the fact that you had someone in Korea just straight up jump him.
Yeah.
Well, more than that, they have groups dedicated to tracking his movements and going to kick his ass.
That's like straight out of Weak Hero. Like Weak Hero, if you've read the Weak Hero Mama, which is like a gang mama, they do the same thing.
Well, I mean, they're getting their inspiration somewhere.
They got it, but yeah, I just wanted to bring up Johnny Somali because the guy's you've probably seen the physical last of him.
He's probably going to die in like the most brutal way.
His trial is like the 20th. It's right before Christmas, so we'll all probably have some good news. Korea's not happy.
No, it is not. They are not happy with him.
Right. And here we are at the end of the show.
But I think that is we have not only covered what we were going to cover tonight, but we've obviously gone international. So with that, everyone, we will probably bring the show to an end here. I will thank every one of you for hanging out with us tonight. Sakura, Bowsette, Tony. Gosh, who else was here tonight? Kenneth was here. I know that Timon was here. Yi Ching was here. Alpha Omega was here. Jacob for like 3 seconds was here. Azam
when he wasn't dying.
When he wasn't dying. That was his one moment of like lucidity. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure. We couldn't be doing the show without you. As always, Cider will hit the horn. We'll let you all know what's going on, and then you can get out of here.
Beep. Where do we find you, Miss Nerdigans?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga every day. We actually started another new series that dropped on Manga Plus, which is basically the new Death Note titled Asura's Verdict. It's really, really good. If you like Death Note, you will like this one. We are covering anime on our Patreon, patreon.com/packergirl. We have Dragon Ball Daima on Fridays. The English dub is coming out next month, which we will be covering as well. And Bleach 1000-Year Blood War is, we cover that on Saturdays. On our Twitter, we are obviously covering news, and we are also doing our reread. Well, now it's beyond our reread because we went past X and Y. We are on Omega Sapphire and Alpha Ruby of Pokemon Adventures, and it is so good. I swear, it needs to be an anime.
Never will, unfortunately.
I'm kind of like, part of me wants it to be an anime, but the other part of me is like, it's probably a good idea that it's not, considering all the shenanigans. That
they're not gonna show Poliworld getting cut in half if they make it an anime. Are you kidding me?
They will not show Courtney's ass either, because literally you see her bare ass.
And you know they would remove that joke that where Green has the Pokeballs in her like dress.
Yeah,
and they like slice open her breast and she's like, ha ha, and her Pokemon like pop out and fight. Yeah,
they totally would remove that. But man, the mega evolutions with the quintuple mega evolution that X did in X and Y was so badass. And also they would probably remove the death that was in X and Y. That was so brutal. Oh my god, it was brutal.
So sometimes we get lucky when it doesn't get adapted.
Yes, we do. But yeah, obviously my Gundam article's up, and then the article covering Sid Craft's very questionable localization is just waiting for Spencer to get through, and then that should hopefully be up. There is a lot of questionable localizations from Viz. They are changing 8th grade delusion, or what should be Chuny, to 8th grade delusions and Witch Watch, and also putting cringe slang in there too. And they
translated Chuny as 8th grade.
8th grade delusion, yeah.
That's not even it would be more like middle school. Like that's the term you should use. What the hell?
Yeah, Witch Watch's localization is really, really cringy at times. But yeah, we are covering that. I do get all my luckily I do have my some of my followers are Japanese, so they do verify all my stuff. So You will see a lot of a lot of the cringe. Hopefully you are following me because I am shadow banned, like beyond shadow banned on Twitter, even though I'm paying for it. But as soon as Jacob is feeling better, speaking of Pokemon Adventures, we are doing a retro wave of Pokemon Adventures, and the next one we are doing is Ruby and Sapphire. So if he's better on Friday, that's what we will be doing.
All right, then. And Spencer, where do we find you?
Beautiful. Yeah, as always, guys, check out boundingintocomics.com every day for new news stories. Obviously, I've got more stuff to throw up after the show, so be on the lookout. Aside from that, check out all Cider stuff here on YouTube. I'm sure he'll let you know about that. Go check out Nerd Again stuff. Go check out Jacob's stuff. You know where to find him, Society Reviews. If you want more of me, you can come hang out on my YouTube channel, Kabuto Studios. But until then, you can come back same bat time, same bat channel next week for another episode of 01, where the three of us, and maybe hopefully Jacob, if he hasn't died, we'll break down whatever ridiculous comes at us in the next 7 days, which feels like it's going to be a lot.
And no, I'm not going to tell you about more things. You can go over and click the video tab and see all about it.
Gonna ride into the night with a fire that burns so bright. Speed of light and a heart so strong. Chasing dreams where I belong. Thunder in the midnight air. Wings of steel, we're almost there. Racing towards the stars aglow. To the only place I know. Sky Rider Deluxe. Flying high with the stars above. Sky Rider Deluxe. Feel the power, feel the love. No fears, no turning back. On this endless hero's track. In the dark.